What's up? We're doing it. Who is it? Who's there? Who's there? What's up, everyone? Thank you. Thank you. Let's go. Let's go. This is it. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you. This is it. Welcome, welcome, welcome again. Who's left? Who's left, ladies and gentlemen? Who's left? Is there anyone left in the world? Who? Huh? I don't think so. What's going on? Wow. Crazy, huh? What is up, everyone?
How are you? How are you? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How are you? How are you? You know it. How's it going, everyone? All right. What is it? What is up? Welcome back. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. You're right, Nico. You're right. I just wanted to get at it. We had so much to do. We have so much to do. We've finished the internet. There is nobody left to debate anymore. So we're kind of just going, hello, thanks for following, Jennifer. How are you? I don't think that there's anyone left on the internet to talk to. I think we've done it all. I don't know. What else is there? Bioluminescence, please explain. Ooh, that's a really good question. Joker, aren't you like the troll though? Aren't you just like do like soundboards? Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, this is all just my personal opinion. I support President Trump.
Yeah, this is the soundboard guy. So
No, hey, wait, are you into martial arts? I saw you wearing a jiu-jitsu t-shirt. Do you do martial arts?
yeah.
Yeah? What do you
Mm-hmm.
do? What styles?
I don't know, which ones do you do?
I do I was trained by Christian ninjas. So I do ninjutsu, hapkido, taekwondo, some
Hi,
jiu-jitsu,
Marissa.
some grappling. Judo too. Yep.
Okay, cool, dude. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do
Are you
any
into
of
martial
that.
arts?
No, I don't do any of those. Yeah, I was like trained by Satan's army. It's like a thing that I'm into. So I'm like doing a lot of the dark arts. You know what I mean? Kind of like
Such
this.
as what?
I mean, mostly this. You know, it's so I'm basically trained in all the paranormal stuff. You know, I have force fields, lots of, you know, geese or chais, and you know what I mean, right?
No, what do you mean?
Yeah, lots of force fields, force shocks,
Force fields.
force jumps. Exactly, that's a big one. Yeah, I'm basically folded light. Do you know what folded light is?
No.
You got to get on that
What is
level,
that?
dude. You don't even know yet. So
Well, tell me.
no. I mean, it's not worth describing to you if you don't understand what folded light is. So, you know,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Are you on the political left?
I'm
You are,
on the
aren't you?
political halo, so I'm kind of like above it all a little bit, and I'm kind of like, you know, enlightened. So I don't really deal with problems. I just deal with solutions. You know.
Are you homosexual?
I mean, what would you call what we do? You know, because that's just kind of like love is love. You know, whatever, you know, this
Oh,
is.
it's okay if you are.
Yeah.
Do you are you attracted to men?
What's the date
Okay.
today? What's the date today?
August 19th, 2025.
Okay, cool. 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 Well,
Are you a homosexual?
dude, oh my God, guys, can you hear this? Can you hear it? Just 1 second. Can you actually hear it in the background? Dude, I can hear your heart beating through the microphone, bro. You gotta chill. If you're gonna be that thirsty, you gotta like at least donate to the stream. You know what I mean?
No, I've only
So
ever
I
been with women.
appreciate it.
I'm
So
just attracted to women.
I don't think
I've only
so.
ever been with women.
It's okay. I could hear your heart beating, dude. So it's okay. All right, guys. All right. What a day. Oh, how are you? How are you? That guy comes all the time. I don't get it. Anyway, nice to see you guys in. Welcome in, everyone. Hi, Nico. How's it going? What's up, Augie? How's everyone doing? How's your night going? Thanks. I am. Thank you. Oh, what's up, Michael? Hey, Michael. How's it going? How are you? Oh, Lady Gotti. Thank you. I appreciate you. We got the YouTube archive is going off. I'm really surprised how many people watch the YouTube archive. So it's actually pretty awesome. So I'm really happy about it. I'm a PhD microbiology. Topic, it could be whatever you want, man. I mean, I have a science topic that's lined up, but we're just kind of starting stream and chilling for a little bit. What stage is Ninja? I don't know. That's a good question. Dude, what's up,
Hello.
Scientisms? How's it going?
So, fellow microbiologist. So,
Oh,
I was
nice.
looking at ATP versus GTP. Which came first? And
I
what
have
do
no
you
idea.
think?
I have no idea,
It
bro.
seems like TTP came first because this is what's used to create ribosomes, right?
TTP, AD or ADP, or what do you? I'm sorry, ATP.
Right.
Obviously, I know, but what?
It's a triphosphate versus guanine triphosphate, right?
Oh, interesting.
So, are you interested in like the sort of heritage of life post abiogenesis and how the code evolved and how transport mechanisms evolved and all that.
Okay.
What's your interest?
I haven't taken biochem in a really long time, so I'm not well versed. But I brought both of the Wikipedias up. So
What's your background? Are you molecular
yeah,
biologist? Are you
molecular genetics.
DNA? Molecular genetics. Okay,
Yeah.
so cool. So the cofactors are formed using GTP versus ATP, and the ribosomes are formed using GTP versus ATP, right?
Okay.
So, what other ancient mechanisms are you interested in evolution? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let me describe my aspect. I'm actually interested in this sort of lineage through life, and all the way to do we have free will? My actual endpoint is do humans have free will? And I would say that through evolution, of course, free will exists, right?
Uh-huh.
Are you interested in those discussions that are not?
Sure. Yeah. I guess just so you brought up GTP, I just want to read real quick just so everyone's on the same page. So GTP is a
Sure.
purine nucleoside triphosphate. It is one of the building blocks needed for the synthesis of RNA during the transcription process. Its structure is similar to that of guanosine nucleoside, the only difference being that nucleotides like GTP have phosphates on their ribose sugar. GTP has the guanine nucleobase attached to the 1' carbon of the ribose, and it has the triphosphate moiety attached to the ribose's 5' carbon. Okay, wow. We're really getting into biochem right now. Okay, yeah, I mean,
So
interesting. And it's really quick. It also has the role of the source of energy or an activator of substrates in metabolic reactions like that of ATP, but more specific. It is used as a source of energy for protein synthesis and gluconeogenesis. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I
so
think I
Greg,
remember that.
can I call you Greg? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So Doctor, I only have my master's,
Okay.
um, so I'm not a doctor. You can call me Dan.
Hi, Dan.
So ATP and TTP only differ in the phosphate the what they're using in the sugar group, right? So that said, which rose earlier? What's your interest?
Hmm.
What research have you done, or do you like?
On this, not
No,
any,
no, no.
but I
In
mean,
general, in like your background, what what
uh,
what what's your background?
I did like algae biofuels. Um,
Okay.
oh, excuse me. And then chloroplast biotechnology, and then I did some plant biology for basically sequencing and screening, and then I did CRISPR gene editing and yeasts, and then I did next generation sequencing in plants, and then I did my PhD work, which
Hmm.
was delivering DNA to algae chloroplasts using single-walled carbon nanotubes. And then, like recently, I was doing yeast, basically metabolic engineering and protein engineering.
So before your last,
Hmm.
carbon nanotubes,
Yeah.
was that a better way to cross? Is that a good way to cross blood-brain barrier? Is that just good?
I wouldn't do that because then you have the carbon nanotubes in there, but it's like basically you know, the nanoscale has weird properties, and we are using that to basically as like a synthetic biology chassis to deliver DNA to places that you wouldn't normally get it.
Right.
Yeah. So I wouldn't like usually carbon nanotubes, like they're not going to be used for mammals as much as like, for example, like one of the applications that we had. And if you're curious, I on my link tree,
I'm very curious.
I have all my
I have somebody
publications. So if
who's
you
on
wanted
my
to,
like, I have somebody in my adjacent field who's been trying to find a way to market carbon
uh-huh.
nanotubes,
Oh wow.
but it sounds like you found a way.
Yeah, we used it
They're
for
useful
basically stress sensing. So we basically put it on plants and then used that as like a way to
for oxidative stress or
exactly
what.
Ross signaling and squelching and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So AKD and all that sort of thing. Um, okay.
Yeah, and then yeah, it's just like a cool way. There's lots of different types of nanoparticles, lots of different types of nanotechnology that are really interesting.
So when you went on this live tonight,
Hmm.
and thank you for being here
Oh,
because
cool.
I
Thank you.
love science people being on here. What did you want to like help people understand?
I mean, I basically am here as a science communicator, trying to
Same.
help people understand um, science that exists and try to give them a platform to ask questions to a scientist that they've maybe not had a chance to before. Thank you. So it's like a way to give people an opportunity because not many people know scientists, so it's just kind of a way to start the discussion.
So do you mind if I hang here and you handle other people coming up?
I only do like one-on-one
Okay.
panels, but so like we can talk however long you want, man. But we can. I just like doing the one-on-ones just because it's just like I doesn't feel. Um, I don't like those other discussions that are like big panels and stuff. So it's just I'm just kind of weird like that, I guess.
In that case, I'll let you do your life. I'll drop.
Okay. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. That's a really cool thing that you're like interested in researching. I like it. Cool. All right. Elaine, how are you? Welcome in. Hi, Elaine. How are
Hi.
you?
Good. I just had a question. I have multiple sclerosis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you use any of your science towards any type of neurological diseases or disorders.
I do not, and I'm not a medical doctor, so it's hard for me to say that. But I do. Let's see. Let's see what's popping off. So
Because I heard you
scholar.google.com.
say something about the blood-brain barrier, and MS deals a lot with that.
I didn't. The guest did, but
Oh, okay.
so let's see. Treatments, gene therapy, maybe that would be where I'm at. Oh, gene therapy approaches to an autoimmune demyelinating disease, multiple sclerosis. Here's this. I'll put this in the show notes for everyone. All right, here's the abstract. Multiple sclerosis is the most common autoimmune demyelinating disease in the central nervous system. It is a multifactorial disease which develops in a immune-mediated way under the influences of both genetic and environmental factors. So it could be from your genes or it could be from environmental things. Demyelination is observed in the brain and spinal cord, leading to neuroaxonal damage. So that's like the axons on the neuron in patients with MS. Due to the infiltration of different immune cells, such as T cells and B cells and monocytes and macrophages, focal lesions are observed in MS. Current available medications treating MS are mainly based on two strategies. One, to ease specific symptoms, so like palliative care, and then two, to reduce disease progression. However, these medications tend to induce different adverse effects with limited therapeutic efficacy due to the protective function of the blood-brain barrier. There you go. That's what you're talking about. Therefore, researchers have been working for the past 4 decades to discover better solutions by introducing gene therapy approaches and treating MS generally by following 3 strategies. 1, prevention of specific symptoms. 2, halt of reverse disease progression. And 3, heal CNS damage by promoting remyelination and axonal repair. In the last 2 decades, there have been more remarkable successes of gene therapy approaches on the experimental mice model of MS, experimental autoimmune encephalomyelitis, EAE, which suggests that it is not far from the gene therapy approaches would start in human subjects, ensuring the highest levels of safety and efficacy. In this review, we look at the other different approaches for treating MS. That's cool.
There's something new called a BTK inhibitor,
BTK inhibitor.
and the brand name I think is tolobrutinib. It's under FDA trials right now.
Cool. BTK is a protein kinase involved in signaling pathways with B cells and myeloid cells, including microglia, macrophages, and other immune cells.
So my doctors are gonna try to put me on this new drug, but
Nice.
I didn't know if you had any input on or any.
I don't, but honestly, like a lot of, if you can get on any clinical trials, I feel like that is a really good thing to get on, because it's just like like historically, the FDA has actually been super cautious. You know, we have like other drugs and stuff have worked really well.
Well, no, this one's about to get approved. They fast tracked it to phase 4, so it should be approved by September. They're saying.
BTK inhibitors. Addie.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that, like, if they're getting, my point is that if it's getting approved that quickly, then it's probably a good thing. It's probably really safe.
Because I've dealt with MS for 10 years, and my dad has it also.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a lot of new things coming out. So I try to get input wherever I can.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Thank
BTK
you.
inhibitors. Cool. Yeah, I would. I mean, non-medical opinion. I would do it.
I know.
I would do it.
I get an opinion wherever I can. So I like to get
Nice.
a breadth of knowledge. So
Yeah, nice.
thanks for answering.
Yeah, of course. No problem.
You can drop me if you want.
All right. Well, have a good night. I appreciate you. Bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Alrighty. How's everyone going in the chat? Hi, Natalie. Hey, Ducray. How are you? How's everyone doing? I am canceled. Hi, Kaylin. How are you? Number 1 subscriber to the channel, everyone. The first subscriber. Thank you. Hi, Dr. T. How's it going? Hi, Unfiltered Life with Liz. Hello. Hi, Unfiltered. How are you?
I didn't know I'd get on so quick. Let me shut the door. My kids are loud.
Okay, I know how that is. You can get
Family's
another
cooking
job.
something.
Another job. Yeah,
I agree. Thank you.
Awesome. I was on your live for the first time a couple nights ago, and I had
cool.
so many questions for you. So I was like, cool, let's get into it.
Cool.
So one question that I had, and I don't know how versed you are in this because I know you're not a medical doctor, but I think I want to talk to someone that's not a medical doctor just because the medical doctors are so they're so strong in their viewpoints. Sometimes I don't feel like they can be unbiased with their ideas.
Okay.
So I have scleroderma, and I went to a functional doctor, and I paid about 40 grand to do pretty extensive blood work.
Okay.
And they came back and said that I had Lyme. And Lyme is super, super controversial. So my primary doctor says I don't have Lyme. But then when I got my blood work redone, it went from IgGs to IgMs. So it no longer was a past infection. Now it's active. So I know based on the CDC, they say chronic Lyme doesn't exist. But my blood work 6 months apart, the panels change what make it seem like it is an actual chronic Lyme infection.
Yeah, Dr. Michael, we have someone in chat that's a physician, and he just did a thing on chronic Lyme's disease and everything like that. How it's fake news and everything. So I wish that he was here. I was actually looking for the invite to get him in.
I would love that because here's the thing:
Yeah.
is like I'm working with this functional medicine doctor right now who's about an hour away, and I'm doing these Lyme treatments, and my disease is getting better, which honestly, I don't even care why, but I couldn't lift up my hands 3 months ago, and now I can lift my arms up. So I know the treatments are working, but I don't really understand. I want to understand the biochemical. If it's not Lyme, then why is it working?
Okay.
You know?
How about you hang out, and then if Michael's here, then we like pull you both up and you guys can talk. I just don't feel like safe like saying an opinion.
That's okay.
I genuinely don't know. So
That's okay.
and
I
then-
have something else we can chat about that I'm really passionate about. I had another question for you if you're open to it.
Yeah, we can. But just to put the pin on it, like if he doesn't join tonight or we don't get that answered, like I can I'll share his profile with you and you can DM him, and even someone else they had a question for me, and then I sent it to him, and he's like open to talk and give out. He's in doing the same thing that I'm doing in like communication and stuff. So he's awesome and open in DMs and stuff. So we'll get you your answer. I have no idea, but I would love a shot at the second one.
No, I appreciate that because I like your channel a lot because I'm very Republican.
Cool.
I'm a recovering MAGA.
Okay.
No, but I say that tongue in cheek, but like I'm very Republican, but I like to look at facts across the board, and I feel like you present things in a very scientific, very clear way that I'm able to look at my views and kind of decide whether they're still accurate or not.
Wow, that's awesome. That means a lot to me.
I appreciate the way you present yourself and your facts, so that's kind of cool.
That's really cool. I'm learning that there's like a lot the same, that you're not alone. Like you have a lot of people just like you that reach out and I don't even know, and then they tell me later and they're like, yeah, dude, I'm actually a Republican, and same thing. And I'm like, wow. I think that's why when people like try to pin me down politically, I like with these weird like gotcha questions and stuff, I get frustrated because I'm like, I'm not trying to be ideological, we're trying to talk science and go from there. And so awesome. Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you. I knew you weren't a medical doctor, but I appreciate you at least, listening, because it's a lot. But my other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was, um, I know this is a sensitive subject, I know, but I homeschool my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I use the ESA funds, which is state funding for homeschooling. And I my viewpoint has changed so much in the last 10 years because I'm a school teacher by trade, and
Okay.
I taught in the school systems for 7 years. And I was very much against the program um,
What's
until I had
what's
two special
ESA? I'm
needs.
sorry. ESA?
ESA is basically vouchers, which you did a
Okay.
video on, not thinking that it takes funding away from public schools.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I guess I just wanted to show a different light of that because I very much had that mindset for a really long time being a classroom teacher when people would use voucher programs to go to charter schools or private schools. But when I had two special needs kids that were being completely failed in the public school,
Yeah.
they weren't reading, they weren't getting social skills, they were screaming all the time.
Hmm.
And I took them out to homeschool them, and I started using those resources that the state offered to hire private teachers and to take them to activities at public school and charter school and private schools, and was able to have that school choice with state funds.
Yeah.
My kids' education and the ability to just function as a human skyrocketed so much. Like, and I wasn't able to provide them that service within the school. And being in the homeschool community now
Hmm.
and seeing how many special needs kids are using those state funds outside of the public school and they're thriving,
Mm-hmm.
it completely changed my viewpoint on that. And I think as a teacher, I was really frustrated because I never had curriculum. I always built my curriculum, and I was like, why are the schools so underfunded? Where is this money going? But then after I went down the rabbit hole so much, I realized that it doesn't really matter how much money we throw at schools. It's not going to hit the classroom. It's not going to hit the
Mm.
teachers. Like, it's going to overhead that they don't need. It's really mismanagement of funds and not a lack of funds, in my opinion.
So what do you
Um,
think? What do you think public schools could do differently than in order to, like, what would you do differently?
um, what I would do different, that's a great question. When parents are given these funds to use, I think that um, I think there's a caveat that right now, I don't know, what state are you in?
California.
Okay. So in Arizona, there's no oversight of homeschooling. And I disagree with most homeschoolers. I think
Hmm.
with most Republicans, they just say, like, if you're homeschooling and the parent, you should be able to do whatever you want, what, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I disagree with my teaching background. I think that if we're using school funds, there should be a standard, right? There
Yeah.
should be some kind of testing. There should be kind of some check-in. Not that I really want government oversight, but I do think there should be some accountability for the funds other than, like, every time we spend funds, it has to be on educational. We get audited like
Mm-hmm.
quarterly. But what I would change is I would change that I can use those funds privately for a speech therapist, for
Hmm.
a tutor. I've used them at private schools. I've used them at charter schools for, like, I can go into a charter school or private school and say, I want my kids to take a math class. I want my kids to take a art class, and I can pay for that one class because my kids, they have a very limited ability to focus before they have, like, sensory meltdowns and they're just screaming, but
Yeah.
they can focus for an hour or two. At the public school, they don't all, like, that is legally allowed, but socially it's not allowed. Um,
Hmm.
like, you can legally sign your kid up for public school for a half day or every other day for medical reasons or emotional reasons,
Hmm.
but socially it's not allowed.
Interesting.
And so
So it's like that kind of like personalized time and really that care that you kind of attenuate to their needs as they need it.
right, and I feel like, I mean, this is different from, I let me see, on the spectrum, I have both of my girls they're very smart, they're on subject, but they can't sit through a 5-hour day. Like, my
Yeah.
daughter, in order to get her to focus, she has to swing, like, in between every 20-minute break, she has to go swing. She has to have that sensory outlet,
Oh,
or she
interesting.
can't focus.
Okay.
But at the school, they can't provide
Mhm.
that. But
Interesting.
then on the other flip side of it, in my classroom, when you have 30 students, you can't, even though you have a legal document that says you need to do X, Y, and Z for these students, when you have 10 students in your class that need X, Y, and Z, like for the 7 years I taught, I was never able to give those things to all of those students. There's just not enough time in the day for me to legally fulfill those obligations. So you have students that are just not getting their needs met.
Yeah.
And that was one reason I got out of teaching, is because no matter how hard I tried or how many hours I put in, I physically couldn't provide the services that were needed, being one person. And it would take a revamp of the system, I think, across the board for that to be. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
Did you have
no,
a
sorry. I
question?
was just waving to someone in chat.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
you went into school teacher mode. You're like, he's raising his hand to talk.
That's so
Um,
funny.
no, I guess like I always thought that a good way to, because I think that school teachers should be a bigger part of our culture, and we should incentivize that career by increasing the pay, and try to make it so that more people would want to do that job. But I guess like I'm curious, like your thoughts on one, just like increasing teacher pay, how that would increase the like who would go to these jobs. But then two, I'm also curious about your thoughts on the way that like AI and ChatGPT can kind of like give these like an individualized tutor kind of experience that some of these schools are trying to dabble with.
I am a huge advocate of educational technology, and
Hmm.
it's interesting if we get into the political side of it, which we kind of are.
Sure.
My classes always had the highest test scores every year that
Uh-huh.
I taught, but I was pushed out because of my political views.
Huh.
Um, there was, and I probably going to anger a lot of people in the chat, but I'm speaking my truth. It might not
Everyone's
be
welcome.
everybody
It's all
else's
right.
truth.
Everyone's welcome.
Um, the last year I taught, there was a fourth grader um, who identified as another gender,
Uh-huh.
who was using bathrooms as my kids. And as a parent, and as I went to the administration to talk about this and just how I was uncomfortable with it, because I feel like as a 9-year old, I felt like some of the teachers were kind of indoctrinating this student to lean one way or the other. And when I discussed the views with my administrator, they told me that I had to use the pronouns that the student wanted. And I said I wasn't comfortable doing that. Well,
Okay.
because of my health issues, um, I was enjoying the school and the culture and everything. And because of my health issues, I live out of district, so my students don't automatically go to that school, but it was the best school in my area.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I took a job there. So I taught there for 2 years. My kids were in school there for 2 years. I sat down with the principal and I was like, I don't think I should be teaching anymore. My health is getting really bad, but I don't
Mhm.
want my kids to be pulled out of school. I want them to stay here. They were they had they were struggling, but so was I with my health, and I thought that stability would be good for them. So
Mhm.
I talked to my principal and I said, if I resign, will they be able to stay in district? And she said, yeah, yeah, of course. So I went ahead and put my resignation in. And 2 days later, they unenrolled them from the school and said that they weren't welcome back. And I think looking back on everything that happened, I really believe that it was my political views that they were struggling with
Hmm.
and not my effect in the classroom. Because I didn't have interaction with the student. I was just voicing my personal concerns and my personal views, but my coworkers and some of the administration really had a hard time with that.
What was you said that you had really high test scores and that you used like technology in the class. I mean, what kind of technology were you using?
It wasn't necessarily AI, but I was using a lot of educational games that when they passed a level, it would just push them automatically up to the next level. So it was constantly like if I was working independent with a student, or students were getting done with work early, I had several different websites that they were allowed to go to that would kind of enhance their learning to the next level, kind of teach them different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just utilize those a lot because you can't be with all the students at once. And I really do feel like that was what pushed my test scores higher, is because the students were getting ownership of their education. Because if they're just relying on me, I'm just one person.
Mm-hmm. Like, do you think that, like, let's say a parent comes to you and they're like, I really do think that for the best of my child to really learn in this environment, that we've talked to a psychologist, that we've gone to counseling for 2 years, and my child is trans. Like, do you think that, would you be like against that?
Wait, say that one more time.
If you were in the teacher role and you had a parent coming to you, so it's not just like a kid going like, oh, I want to try this out at school or something. It was like they've done the work. They went to the psychologist for 2 years. They did the parent, they're doing the work with the therapy. They're trying, and it's like, my child will learn best and have the most productive time in the classroom. In order to do this, like, can you help us? Like,
yeah, I mean, I've had several
transition?
students. I've had several students that were trans over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and I had really good relationships with them, and I didn't have a problem like teaching them and working with them and respecting their views. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was when other students were required to, in my opinion, change their freedom of speech and required to use vocabulary that the students weren't comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I had a hard time with. As a teacher, I didn't have a hard time working with those students or being that person. I had a hard time with making other students uncomfortable, I guess, and overseeing, like, when, for example, if you tell everybody in your class you have to use this pronoun when we're speaking to that student, I understand that that's respectful for the trans student, but it might be disrespectful for other people. And that was my viewpoint, that I wasn't trying to say this is right or wrong. I just wanted to have a discussion about it and to be like, okay, so is everyone being heard? And I see people in the comment completely destroying me, and that's okay. You can have your own opinions.
We're good. We're here.
And I had a parent that I reached out to and had a really wonderful conversation with her, and she was like, "Hey, I really respect the way you treat my child." And like, she asked me to try calling her different names, and I tried it, and we talked about it, and like, there was never any disrespect. It was just I just had a hard time with the other students that were having a hard time and not having the resources for them to like, how do I deal with this? Like, all the resources were going to the trans student, but the other kids that didn't understand it, like, I don't know. Does that make any sense?
I mean, I can see your viewpoint, but I can also see like how you would be on our side I agree that I would be on the side of that. This is probably on your onus to stick up for the trans kid, because this sounds like bullying. And I think that, if it was, instead of a trans child, it was a black kid and they're having racial slurs slurred at them, you wouldn't say, well, I mean, it's their right, in order to do that, and I'm not going to ask them to change their speech. That's just how they were raised.
So,
right?
Can I ask you this? You feel like using the gender they were born with would be similar to like a racial slur?
No, I'm saying, as a teacher, you're asking the students in order to change a behavior so that they're not bullying a kid.
I wouldn't let them like, there was never any bullying. Like,
okay.
Like, everyone was very, very inclusive. I think that it was just me voicing like, hey, this should be a conversation.
Yeah, it should. I think, I think that the problem is like letting that trans person now has to like carry that weight of like, every class they have to like, now they have to have the conversation, and now they have to kind of be the part where every class has to learn, and I feel like that's so unfair for that person who they're being robbed kind of like of an education where they're just able to just exist and live and be a kid,
Yeah,
so
I can see that, and I appreciate the open dialogue. I do,
mhm.
because I mean, I'm reading some of these comments, and it kind of breaks my heart because I feel like they don't understand my heart that I went into teaching to help kids,
Yeah.
and I do. I never said anything. I don't have any ill will or any bad feelings. I never said anything negative. It was always with love and compassion.
Mhm.
Um, I just went to my administration to open the conversations.
Yeah. No, hey,
And
I mean, this is something that people are living with, and it's happening, and it's kind of like the same thing where, if we close off dialogue, then the conversations are just going to keep happening, but the voices aren't going to be in the conversation, and that's what's the problem is that, like, you know people are going to continue thinking about these things, but we're just not going to be talking to each other, but we're going to be talking past one another. And I think that that's the problem, where it's
mhm,
like with science communication or trans kids or something like that, and then you get to these like crazy levels where it's like states are banning kids from sports and sports teams, that then there's not even like a trans kid that's doing sports in the entire state, but but they're passing laws, and so it just feels very like bullying to me. I don't know, I was bullied mercilessly in elementary school to the point of like wanting to kill myself, and it
yeah,
was awful, and so I can't imagine. I had a really dramatic moment when, like, one of my bullies, her brother called my house, and it was like earth shattering to me because my house was my haven, right, where I could like live there, and the bullies couldn't penetrate, and they
yeah,
called, and it was just I was shocked, like, when I got the phone call, and I was like shaking. My parents picked it up, and they're like, "What is going on?" And I guess I just feel for these kids where now they have to have the internet, and it's following them along forever, and now it's like they're
yeah,
trying to deal with like trying to find themselves, right? If you're trans, there's no destination, right? It's like a constant evolution of trying to find who you are and try to,
right.
figure out what's going on. And, I agree that there should be lots of therapy. I think all the kids should be in therapy anyway, to be honest with you. I think therapy is a really good thing, and I'm a huge mental health advocate,
Hmm.
and people should be using those tools. Um, but, I worry about making it harder on them, you know?
No, I agree, and I think that maybe I didn't present it very well when I started. I think my thought was too, and I hope I explained this in a clear way, is
Mhm.
I felt like the student was very confused by ideologies coming from mom, from teachers, from
Mhm.
administration, from students, and I didn't want my voice to sway the student one way or the other.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel like that was my place in that situation. And so by um and I didn't feel like the student knew what they wanted. Um and and I feel like if, home life's using one pronoun, school's using one, and the student's
Mhm.
using another, like, it I just didn't want to make more chaos and make more like that internal struggle. Like, I wanted to support them, and I just didn't know how to do that.
Uh, looking back on it, what do you think that how you could support a trans kid as a teacher? What would you do now?
I wanted mentorship from my leadership to
Mm.
help me navigate that, and I felt like I was missing that because
Mm.
when I had trans students that were older, it I don't want to say, I know bother is not the right word, but they were more secure in what they wanted
Yeah.
and who they were, and it was easier, um these are not the right words to use, but like I didn't have a hard time with those decisions because I felt like it wasn't influenced by the school or by peers. Like it was what they wanted, is what they felt, they knew who they were. But in second, third, and fourth grade, they're still trying to figure that out. And I
Mm,
didn't want to be a voice of confusion.
yeah. It's tough. It's really tough. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, it, a lot of schools and people, like through their identity, have become political cudgels that people have demagogued and castigated from society, and then now they're I just feel so frustrated, I guess, by that. It's just um yeah, so it's tough. I mean, it's really hard to navigate, like like for example, like, you know, the reporting mandatory reporting guidelines is a really interesting one for me, because it's like, as a parent, like, let's say my child was trans and they didn't want to report it to me for whatever reason, like
Hmm.
you're a teenager, you don't want to, you know, you want to keep something from your parents. I had a bad relationship with my parents, and they were nothing but loving and caring for me, so I can kind of understand where even as a teenager you kind of want to figure things out by yourself, and you want to be like trying things out and figure your own path. And like, I feel like even as a teenager, though, you still need to like have access to healthcare services. You need to still
Yeah.
be driven to the doctor. You still need to be going to you know, insurance and all that kind of stuff, and that is through your parents. So
Yeah.
I think that instead of like reporting guidelines or something like that, we should be trying to help parents understand, you know, and give them coaching
Yeah.
and
And
say like,
I
this
had
is what
one.
you need to be doing, because
I
it's
had a
like,
sixth grader that came out to me, and we had a really long, beautiful conversation. And she was like, "I feel like you're the only teacher that, or the only adult in my life right now that I can share this with." So
mhm,
I'm reading the comments, and it kind of breaks my heart because they're like, "Hey, you don't respect these kids." It's like they knew that I cared them. They knew I respected them, and she knew it was a safe place for her. And she came to me, and she hadn't talked to her parents yet, and um, when I talked to my administration, they said my legal duty was to call the parents and have a conversation with the parents, and it was a really beautiful thing. And then the student, she wanted to try out some different pronouns in the classroom, and I allowed
mhm.
her to do that. And
Good. Yeah.
and and she asked me to call her a different name for a couple weeks, and then she came back and she's like, "Hey, that didn't feel good." So I was respecting that, but I feel like that conversation was different for a 12-year-old than it was an 8-year-old,
Yeah.
for me.
Like
And
I've
maybe it's not, but I felt like it was a different situation when you're dealing with kids much younger. Um,
Look, I don't think that there's anything that I've seen or talking to you like you have any type of, you don't have malice in your heart or anything that I'm you know, then I think that's a big thing. I think that you're willing to listen and talk things out and seek counsel and learn, and I think that that's all that anyone can ever ask of anyone, because um, it is, you know, something that people are learning about. And I think that um, you know, you're just, there's a difference between someone that has evil intent of like, I'm gonna make this person, you rue the day that they ever thought that they were this way, you know, and I'm gonna fix them kind of thing, versus someone that's just trying to figure out how this all fits together, you know. So
right. And I feel like, yeah, and I don't personally, it doesn't bother me if that's the choice that they make.
mhm.
Um, I just I feel like there was just so much, especially in this younger child, there was just this so much confusion in her mind and in her heart, and I just didn't know how to navigate that without making the confusion worse. Like if I use a pronoun that she's not sure, like and then I don't know. It's just hard. But I think when you said what could change, like
Hmm.
I do think there needs to be more training on this. Like
Yeah,
I'm
exactly. I
I'm
totally
open
agree.
to it. I'm I want to do right by these students, and it's okay that my political views are different. It's
Hmm.
just it all comes back to that respect and how we treat them, you know, and allow them to navigate that.
I think you're right. I mean, training the kids, sorry, it's training the teachers, training the parents on how to walk these things and have these discussions, and um, as opposed to um, yeah, we have to have compassion. But we talk about all the time, having compassion for people, letting people say something that, not defining their entire character off of one idea, one thing that they say, because we can't. We have to give people a chance to be wrong or change their views in the future, or there might be a misunderstanding. So we have to we have to yeah, we have to assume that people have the best intentions when they obviously aren't acting in malice. And I think that um, that's just what we have to do, as with everything we have to do. So though, thank
Well,
you so much. I appreciate you so much, Liz. I will get you to Dr. Michael. I will yeah.
no, I appreciate that. And thank
Yeah,
you for, I mean, I know that these topics, I didn't expect to go into all that while I was here, but
it's
like
okay. I'm
you
glad that we
you
did.
are you are a safe space. Like I feel like we can, and I'm okay if my viewpoints change, and I feel like you're the same way, that if we see something different, we're willing to question
Hmm.
ourselves, and I appreciate that about you and your channel. And
Thank you.
I know it's hard to voice these things on a more not conservative channel, because I know that
Hmm.
most people aren't going to agree with me, but
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
thanks for,
we all know what a toxic person is in regards to the queer community, right? It's like we all have seen that, we all know what that is, and it's so I think that that's definitely not an iota of you, and you're obviously going into. I'm honestly sad that you aren't is still a teacher. That's like that's what I'm taking away from this. That we actually
no, thank
lost
you.
like a good one, and I wish that you were capable of still doing that, and we had kept you.
Well,
So
I'm still tutoring. I have several special
nice.
needs students that I work with that, also didn't do well in the public schools that I'm working with. And I hope to get back into the classroom someday, but definitely with some training.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate your time. I'm sure there's other
Awesome.
people that want to jump in your feed, and thank you for your kindness.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I thank you for jumping in. Appreciate you.
All right, have a great day.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
All right. Yeah. All right, guys. So we got open lines. Anyone wants to jump in? Come on. Oh, shoes. Oh, shoes. How's it going?
Hello, sir. It's good to actually
Hi.
finally talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
Hello, sir. Well, I think this live is going a little bit better than the one I previously saw. So it's
Yesterday's, yeah.
all, yeah, man.
Did you see the before the Maha lady though?
God, man, I'd be a liar to say that I have because I'm sick. But
Dude,
no,
check
which
it
one
out.
was?
Yesterday, I put the YouTube archive in there. It's on my link tree, and it was incredible, dude. There was a conversation with a 79-year-old therapist, and he was just an awesome guy. And we were like at like just wisdom, man, just really cool conversation that you don't really get to ever talk to someone. And he was just hanging out on TikTok as no other 79-year-old does. So
Yeah,
it was
that's
awesome.
awesome. I have. Yeah, I will check that out. I will check that out. I definitely will make this sweet because I definitely have to be going. But
Okay.
I wanted to say, I said my piece in the messages to you, but I'll say it again. You're awesome.
Thanks, man.
Reading these comments, it's amazing that Are you new to TikTok? Is this your first year
Yeah,
or?
this is my like a second week doing live streams, and this is my first
Got
full
you.
week of doing them every night. So it's been wild.
Got you. It's depressing because it never ceases to amaze me when you think that you're on a safe side of TikTok, which I am with you and the people that follow you. But it's unfortunate that even you aren't safe from these trolls. And when I just hear them, I guess my question should be this.
Hmm.
I won't go on a tangent. I am immunocompromised. I
Oh dang.
get seen every 6 months. I don't know how much of a stickler you are with looking up colleagues within your community.
Uh-huh.
My doctor is essentially a superstar in oncology. You can look him up, Dr. Yaroslav Maciejowski,
Okay.
head of translational oncology, Cleveland Clinic. And my
Sorry guys, I'm not moving around enough. I guess I got. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. When I was at my last appointment with him, it was during, well, granted, everything new, something new happens every day with the Trump regime,
Hmm.
but it never ceases to amaze me what he does. But I think it was along the lines of I'm going on tangent too much. I'm sorry. Basically, my question was to him at the end of the appointment
Hmm.
was, how bad of a spot we're in. And I literally couldn't get an answer from him, but he turned around and it's like he gave
Yeah.
me the worst smirk of his life. So my question to you should be this.
Hmm.
How screwed are we? Because when I hear from the horse's mouth, I get a consistent 10 to 20 years backwards.
Yeah.
Would
I
you
mean,
agree with that?
so the biggest example, the most direct one that I can give you is solar voltaics. So late 70s, we have a huge push technologically, research and development wise. We're the leader at manufacturing and in R&D and photovoltaics. Reagan comes in, shuts it down in early
Of
80s,
course.
and basically all that manufacturing, all that R&D goes to China, and then it comes back, in cheaper, goods in the last 10 years, but we're what 45 years out of that, and we're not the world leader of that technology anymore.
Yeah.
So it's it really matters how complete this is, and it seems like because it is unconstitutional what he's doing, and he's not being
Yeah.
checked by any type of judicial system,
No.
that it seems pretty bad. And I mean, basically every single thing that's being approved scientifically has to be approved by Trump. Like it has to align with his goals personally. So anything can be taken away. So like San Diego's school districts, their public school districts got frozen for $50 million because they said that black kids are are equal
Yep.
as white kids or whatever, DEI, like
Yep.
so it's just any program now all of a sudden is enough to take the entire university's funding away. So it's really sad, but yeah, I don't know, like in every aspect, if it's going to be 45 years. I don't think a lot of the people that I know, that some of them are moving, but we're just gonna have to see. 4 years isn't that long of a time, but we're getting such a cutoff of funds. Like because I was on the private side, right? I was a private
Right.
biotechnology company, and my entire site got shut down. So that's pretty wild, and it was a German company too. So we're kind of not even exactly connected to.
Right.
So it was just basically the Russia invading Ukraine, and then on top of that the tariffs, and then on top of that the freezing of the science funds. So kind of just a trifecta thing. One of the two were probably okay. Two of the three were maybe okay. All three is kind of just the death knell. So it's tough, man. It's tough. We can't exactly know, unfortunately, but
I know.
what we are cutting out is all the scientists have kind of completely abandoned the HHS. So for example, the CDC vaccine board has just anti-vaxxers on it now. They were not doing any environmental monitoring because that would require us to look at bat coronaviruses in caves, and then that would allow us, that would make us require to like actually accept that lab leak was a conspiracy that has no scientific basis, which that's not allowed now. It's just, it's all these things. So it's crazy. I mean, Trump won in 2016. This people kind of saw this, and they started
Yeah, I mean, there's hints of
saving.
it.
They saved like climate change data. They still monitored, even though they were shut down technically. People are in science, like, or have dedicated their life to science in a way that we don't get paid as much as like the finance people or medical people, but we have like a passion for it that's kind of
Yeah.
unwavering. So I think people are going to fight, but I'm hoping to inspire other scientists to get out here and be science communicators as well. That's kind of my goal, but we'll have to see.
I implore you so much, man, because admittedly, I am a pessimist at heart, but the older I'm getting, I'm 33, I'm getting softer, and I'm just trying. And when I look at it myself, I'm doom and gloom. But when I think that, I turn to people like you, and I hear a little bit of a more positive light. But then when I see comments like there was somebody like a couple minutes ago, you're in the scientism cult. Like, it is mind-boggling that
Yeah.
we're here already.
Oh yeah, dude. Those people in chat are. I want them here. That is one of the things. I don't ban anyone in chat. I don't block anyone. The people that are hate watching, they actually hate watch more than anyone else. Like, they watch the stream. Like, they literally have the phone
seen
on
it.
and they're watching and they're spamming. I don't care that they're spamming. I care that they're watching. They're ingesting some type of science content, dude. Maybe if they're hate watching, whatever, but they're still here. They're still supporting. They're increasing the engagement by just spamming their comments.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. I think it's a good thing to have them here, genuinely. And you know what? What happens is that they come on, and then they'll spam, and then they'll see that we're not actually pushing them down. We're trying to help them up. We're trying to give them a
Yeah.
helping hand. And then guess what? They start engaging in the conversation. Well, they actually start like calming down, not all caps. They'll like actually start like contributing, and then they'll come back on voice, and then they're going to be calm, and then they're going to ask like more questions. It's like you can see it in real time. Like the walls of this social barrier that they're constructing are just being laid to rest. And I hope them just knowing a scientist will somehow break that down, and that we're not just like these evil pharma shills or whatever, that we can actually make the world a better place. So
Yeah.
that's my goal, man. We'll see.
Please never. Well, you're a human, but my hopes for you, man. I hope you don't get jaded, because we need you.
Thanks,
I've
man.
been I've been jaded since they've villainized Tony Fauci. I'm still not recovered from that.
I know, that's
I
such a
think
shame.
it's ridiculous. I mean, it really is. But I think we're in the most dangerous dark age time ever,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to hear you and say we're going to get through this. I don't believe so, but man, I have no choice.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, as a scientist, I'm kind of like an eternal optimist, right? Because you
Right.
have to be like an optimist as a scientist in order to do that next
Right.
experiment. You failed 99 times before, but you're like, this experiment, this is the one that will change, and this will prove my hypothesis. So you got to just keep. I mean, the positive words are resilient, grit, stick-to-itiveness, all that kind of stuff. But reality, I'm just stubborn. That's like really what it is. I'm just a really stubborn person. So
And that's a definitely good quality. That's hey, I never want to take that away from you. Is there anybody in your community, like I'm not really privy as obviously as much as you with your colleagues? Is there somebody as high up as Fauci that's obviously not, Fauci's not in the picture right now, but is there somebody in your community in the CDC, HHS that's fighting like vocally about it, or can't you?
the person that I knew about the CDC, that was the highest up that I knew him, like quit, because it's just it's tough, man. It's really hard, man, because the more you prick them and put the thorn in their side, the the worse your career gets over time, and you're really lampooning your entire career. So you kind of just, kind of ghost and re regather and then go down another road versus like trying to fight and make it worse, because they're going to fire you anyway.
Yeah.
They'll just make it worse for you now, because
Yeah.
it's just, so it is tough, man. The media kind of pushes these people into like, oh, just stay in there, keep fighting, but it's tough, dude. Like, I've gotten death threats for my science before. I've gotten
That's
people,
man.
yeah, it's wild. We made it into the QAnon conspiracy world, and it wasn't fun. And so it sucks. It sucks.
It does.
Yeah.
And if I may interject, I'm going to call someone out. The commenter, try and sniff these nuts. These liberals are actually this delusional. I imagine it. Hey, bro, I hope you're American, because if you're not, you sound really dummy right now. This affects you too, buddy. And if you're not young, don't worry. It will hit you. It hits everybody. And you're too. But yeah, sorry to go.
I think the point is that we're trying to make the world a better place for everyone. He's included in that. So
he is.
That's okay. Whether or
I
not
don't
he
want to
recognizes it or not, that really isn't. I'm not influenced by that. So I hope to make it better, a world for his kids and him, and whether or not I get a congratulations or whatever, it doesn't really matter for me. But so that I want him to know that there are people that are trying to make the world a better place without any type of maligned financial influence, or we are just trying to solve problems. And I think that's the insecurity that people have, man, because they've been told through social media algorithms and everything like that all the people at the top in all these positions of power only got there because they've like basically joined some sadistic cults, or they've joined some type of like baby spine drinkers secret society or something like that. And and it's sad. It's really sad, because sometimes there are people out there that really are trying to do the best that they can do, and it kind of like comes out of a place of, in my opinion, insecurity, where they don't think that anyone else could do that, because they don't see themselves as ever doing that. So hopefully people that are hate watching can really just focus on themselves and doing something better for someone else, a truly selfless act. I think that that's a good place to start, and that's where people can have their minds changed about these crazy conspiracies where all the scientists are all coming in together and all collaborating. And in reality, man, it's like it's so gut wrenching to be a scientist, because
I can't imagine it.
There is no support. We like to just absolutely flay each other at these conferences, saying that your paper has no data to support it, and you need to redo all your experiments, and it is absolutely brutal. So the peer review process is not kind, and that's why all these conspiracy people in Maha and stuff don't find shelter inside of science, and that's why they hate it. Because there is an independent, fact-finding way of actually bettering the world, and they can't participate in it because their ideology doesn't allow them to. Right? It's a mostly conservatism by itself is a reactionary politics. Right? It doesn't seek to improve the world, and through legislation, it seeks to remove things or stop things from happening. That's just kind of like how it is, and that's why most people aren't conservative and a scientist, for example. It's very, very rare, because it's like, well, you have to be building towards something. You have to have a something in the future that you want to build to, and you have an idea of how you're going to do that. And usually that's through legislation that needs to be passed. If you have a a patent, or if you have an idea, it needs to be funded, and you have people that need to be get this vaccine or something like that. We have to come together as a society in order to fulfill these larger goals. And having reactionary politics doesn't allow you to, where's the research and novelty of just like, oh, you have an idea, I'm going to say no, and like, whoa, no, whoa, that's a good job. So it doesn't really it doesn't really work like that.
I remember you last night trying to explain to the woman, it was late at night, you were trying to explain the importance of the scientific method. She believed, I forget what she believed she solved, but you were imploring, please go through the process we all do and go through the FDA, but you were proving, I didn't even think about, she has people on her side now, and she still doesn't even trust it. That is mind-boggling.
Yeah,
I couldn't wrap my mind around that.
No, I truly do believe. I mean, Maha is the deep state now. I mean, science has completely abandoned HHS, and they have completely stocked the entire thing with the Maha people, and that they are the swamp. They have infiltrated all of DC, and they are the ones that, like, all the food dyes and preservatives that are legal right now are rubber stamped and okayed by RFK, because he knows that they're actually not that bad. I mean, the real insecurity thing and the problem is that he's stuck in a place because he's lied to people. And he's lied to people in order to use it as a cudgel to get people to vote for Trump. And then now they're in a position of power, but they know that they've lied to people and it's not that bad. So are they really just going to go out and like ban all our foods? Like, no, they can't do it because it's actually not that bad. And it's like, ugh. So they're in a bad spot, man. They're in a really tough spot.
I just told my breath. He never ceases to amaze me. And not to go tangent, but speaking of food, it's so funny you say that. I forget if it was Canada or another country. Maybe you can correct me if you've heard this. I think it was Canada, where somewhere in Canada they actually outlawed food dyes because of those concerns. But once they did, the people weren't buying them because it was so visually appealing. Like, even they don't even know what they want. But sorry, you were saying something.
I mean, you're right. I mean, in California, there was already going to try to ban one of these food dyes or something before. I mean, like, look, man, the problem isn't inherently with the food dye, right? The problem in the United States with our food is that we have too much food available for people, and it's too tasty. So basically, people eat too many calories, and that they get fat from that, and then diseases come from that fatness. There's no like poison in preservatives. There's no poison inside of dye. There's no poison inside of genetically modified foods. So these are it's just complete nonsense. I do feel like we, as a scientific community, have been coddling these people since GMOs first came out, and we kind of let people be like, yeah, okay, GMOs because kind of weird, or that is a new thing. And like, I'm sorry, but like, kids are born in Africa. We didn't know golden rice was killed, which is a vitamin A enriched version of rice that was specifically designed to grow in Africa and help kids not go blind, when they're developing. So like, there are literally blind kids in Africa right now because of GMO fear mongering.
Correct.
So it's gross. It's absolutely gross. But and we didn't fight for it, and now we're kind of at this part where we're really in a bad spot scientifically, where we have all the data on our side, but we don't have the culture around it. And then now we're on the outside of the institutions, right? We are the outside of the we're on the outside, man. I don't know how to say it, but we need to have a scientific political revolution that's going to allow us to really spearhead and take these institutions back.
Correct. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough.
I know there's a good place for AI, but I think a lot of it, not a lot, but I think with the further implementation of that, I mean, well, I don't know, man. This too much relying on LLMs and not enough. Let's use my brain here. And I keep seeing comments genetically and GMOs equals poison. People, we would all be a food desert if we didn't have GMOs. Like, we would be dead. Most of the food you eat, if not all, is GMOs. But, man, what I want to say is, I know you know Mr. Rogers, and I hope you know this quote. I think of you guys, I think of doctor. I have a stickler for 3 groups of people: scientists, doctors, and teachers. 2 of my sisters are teachers. You can imagine how hard it is for them. I can imagine how hard it is for you. There's always bad going around, and it's worse than it ever has before. But people that are good in the comments, actually everybody in the comments, Mr. Rogers always said, there's always bad stuff on the TV, but you always see people helping. Always look for the helpers.
Yep.
And I honest to God believe you are part of that. You are on this platform, which you're very welcome. I consider this platform, and I know this sounds insulting, but I think it's cancerous. I think I truly do, because it's an enormous. If you have the right algorithm, it's okay, but it's still in a way an echo chamber. Even if whether you're liberal, progressive, whatever, you're going to be in an echo chamber. But this app is not good. But when you're doing this, my God, man, I thank you, because I hope to see you in I don't know how long this app is, but
Dude, what's crazy is that I came to TikTok because I used to do this. I started in 2021, and I did like Twitch streaming for like 2 years and YouTube streaming, and I basically was like a science correspondent going to, thank you, Vanity, on to Twitch, like Republican Twitch streams, and they would ask me questions and I would give them their responses and stuff like that. So it's like cordially going on to them. And I did try to go like create my own stream and stuff, but I would just basically be streaming to myself, maybe 2 people, maybe 1 person in chat. It was very rare. And then I was really, with everything going on since January, I felt like I wasn't doing anything, and it's crazy. In 2017, I was really motivated to get involved, and so that's when I started volunteering at City Hall and getting involved there, and that was really amazing experience. And then kind of in the same way, I was like, man, if they're out there, I need to be out there too, So I dusted off all my science communication gear that I hadn't used in 2 years, and plugged it all in, and then I just decided, I was like, oh, like everyone's on TikTok, let's just try it out. And for whatever reason, normally TikTok, usually they used to stop you from live streaming until you had 1,000 followers,
right?
Which was really hard. That is really hard to get if you're a brand new account. I'm like doing science content, man. That is very hard. So I was doing science videos for a really long time back in like 2022. 2021, and I would never even got like more than 100 followers, man. It was awful.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why, but like I got the ability to live stream on TikTok when I only had like 100 followers. Maybe it's because I was putting out STEM content on this brand new account, or maybe they opened up the floodgates and made lower follower counts able to stream. And but yeah, it was the first night, dude. It was crazy. I was pushed so much, and they were pushing me so hard. I had like 100. I was thinking about going on for maybe it's like 10, 15, and then it was like an hour, and then I was like, whoa, there's 20 people in here. Like, what is going on? And then 2 hours, I was like 40 people in here, and then like at the end of the night, it was like 100 people, and I was like, what is going on? People are in chat. This is like incredible. And then this was like maybe 3 weeks ago or a month ago now. And then I was only doing streams like twice a week. And then like last week, I just kind of was like, you know what, I could just do this every night. And I think, I don't know. I don't know. It's just taken off. Honestly, the community has been so supporting. Like people like you, man, I I showed my wife your DM and I started tearing
Oh,
up. I started tearing up. I'll be honest with you, because it's
oh
just,
no, you're so
yeah,
sweet.
man. It's people like you where it's like,
Heart.
it's why we do this, why I do it, and so it's really cool. And like getting laid off last week was like really depressing. So being able to like put myself into something where I'm hopefully giving back and it's a productive way of spending my time. Yeah, man, it's been incredible. And what's funny is that in that story, obviously, I don't use TikTok, guys. So I'm like asking people, Dr. T, Nico, all like, we're on like Discord, and I'm like, how does TikTok? What is this? How do these things like? Please tell me. I have no idea, and I'll go through the TikTok lives, and I'm like, whoa, like, like what is going on? So basically, guys, I'm doing like what I normally did on a Twitch stream, like here on TikTok, and I realized that is completely different. I'm not like dancing for coins or anything, and I do. But I want to have fun. I see myself doing a show. I'm doing like a science show. Yeah. So it's just, so I'm happy. I have like a vision in my head of what I want, and I don't look at TikTok in order to try to make my thing look like anyone else. So it's just really heartwarming that people are like resonating with my vision, and I'm getting better at doing this right now, and it's been really fun. It's been really, really fun.
I'm glad to hear that, because I know I shouldn't use the word cancerous. That's a little hyperbole, but yeah, granted, I'm sick. I'm a little uncouth right now. But I'm so glad that's your experience, because I can tell that you've made it. I don't know how you're familiar with you are with other creators. Do you know by chance the creator Good Trouble?
Yeah. Someone told me that he was talking about me or something.
Oh, dude, I hope he is. He's my favorite creator. Well, you guys are my favorite, but like, I love him. I know you have made it when I've come into your lives before, and there's been numerous trolls that are known on his live.
Yeah.
Come into your life.
Dude, last week, I mean, I hate to name drop, but this was pretty crazy. I don't TikTok, and I only known like 2 people, which one of them is Dean, and and he followed me in one of my things, and I was like,
this is awesome.
So I was like, oh, there's no way that's an actual thing. So I like, sure enough, I look through my followers. I'm like scrolling down, like scrolling, and then there it is, his blue check mark and everything. And I was like, whoa, dude, that's sick. So then I followed him, and then I DM'd him, and I was like, hey, dude, thank you so much for the follow. That's awesome. And he was like, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. I was like, I really liked watching your stream, and I was like,
that's awesome.
I know, dude. I couldn't believe it. I was so shocked. I only had less than 1,000 followers. It was unbelievable. Dean Withers, and so I think it's cool, man. Like, it's cool to see that. I mean, the data on my side, guys, it's wild. Everything is like straight up. We're talking like plus 1,000% on a lot of stuff, and so I'm like blown away, and. So it's been really, really, really cool. It's been really cool. I mean, last week I think I was at like 700 followers, and now I think we're gonna hit over 3,000 today. And I think it's honestly, guys, it really isn't me. It's like this community is unbelievable. It is absolutely cool. We have like all these scientists and physicians, and everything is people that really care, and they see exactly what you're talking about, man. Where it's like, we can make a non-toxic place on the internet where people really try to improve their lives and the community around them, and we don't have to wallow in this toxicity, and we can make things better. So yeah, that's what I hope to do.
I think you're doing it best, because the other people that I like, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Rubin. He's I literally think his handle is Dr. Rubin. He's a pediatric immunologist and allergist, and he doesn't really do what you do. I definitely, someone can correct me in the chat, I literally think you're the only doctor that's doing what you're doing now and speaking to everybody. All the other ones are just doing these short clips. We need more of what you're doing.
Cool, man.
We just do. But like, truly, I'm gonna how do I say this? Just compliment you.
Thank you.
You're excellent, man. You truly are. Like, someone in the comment, like, you're very calm. You're excellent. You don't succumb to the trolls. you're just excellent. I don't know if you have a background. Obviously, you have a background in education, but you seem to have like a background in psychology because you know how to deal with these people. I don't know who raised you, man, but you're doing wonderful, man.
Oh, thank you,
Really.
man. It's like
Yeah.
it's all my mom, and
Amen. Mine too.
I
Me
do
too.
jujitsu, so that's how I get all my
What belt are
frustration
you,
out.
sir?
So, I'm gonna be a blue belt really soon here. So I'm
Excellent.
really,
I'm so
really,
sorry to cut you off. I'm
no,
an MMA fanatic. I love
nice,
that. I
dude.
love
I
that
want to
stuff.
do like there's a lot of people. I'm telling you, man. The science, the nerds,
I
the
know. No,
jujitsu. Like we are all guys. We're all in the same thing. It's such a cool thing, and it's fun. It's really fun.
well, man, I definitely want to come back up here when I'm less sick
Nice.
and
Yeah.
more aware. But dude, it's so nice to meet you and have a
Yeah,
voice
man.
too.
Thank you.
Um, I'm gonna be watching your live, and dude, I'll talk to you again. But please keep yourself healthy, sane, and everybody in the comments, you do too. Keep
Thanks, man.
positive, Dr. Greg. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. I appreciate
You
it.
more, man. You more. Take care.
All right. Sylvie May. Sylvie May, how's it going? What's up?
Hi, I'm so
Hi.
glad to be out here. I have, I guess, a fun question and then a more of a concerning question as someone who does teach science in an educational
Oh, wow.
sense.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I guess my fun question is, everybody's been told not to put anything metal in the microwave.
Okay.
Why are we not allowed to? I understand it makes things go boom, but why does it make things go boom?
Dude, I have no idea. Last physics class I had was like in high school. I have no idea. I mean, if it's vibrating the water bonds, right? It's like the hydrogen bonds that's in water.
I
So
think.
I think that's the idea. It's like the wavelength for the hydrogen bonding. So maybe there's something in that where it disturbs, or inside those the metal or something, it vibrates something else that can have a problem with it. I don't know.
I don't know. It just always, yeah, that's always been something that's like, I know we not supposed to, but like, why are we not supposed to? Like, what causes the boom? That's always been
Dude, it's
something I
like
wondered.
plasma in there too. It goes
I know.
gnarly.
I know I shouldn't, but there's like, I want to put a grape inside because I
Randy.
know it's gonna be cool. It's not gonna be gray at the end, but for a few moments, it's gonna be cool.
Guys, just don't ever at them, okay? We don't at anyone else. We can talk about them in third person or anything like that, but don't, we're not trolling or harassing anyone else on here, okay? Sorry, what was your free electrons in the metal react. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, that
Thank you
makes
for the
sense.
reference though, Randy. That was funny.
Yeah.
What? Okay, cool. What was the other one with the science communicator thing?
All right. Yeah. So, I actually work in a kind of private tutoring business, and we have a lot of kids come in for what we have is our STEAM club that I'm in charge
Cool.
of. And something that is kind of concerning to me is that we have kids who are, of normal school age, 6, 7, 8 year olds who come in for STEAM club, and they're unable to read or write
Oh
because
no.
and I don't know, and I mean, I try my best to kind of teach about like STEAM and,
Mhm.
science and love of, science, mathematics. But like, for example, we were trying to run through the scientific method last week, but how can you explain, the concept of we have to gather, our data and write down our findings when you have kids who are 8 and 9 and can't read a passage or write on a piece of paper?
Man, that's a really good question. I've been trying to think about this, how to teach the scientific method in like a video game or something like that, but I really feel like actually kids are kind of born scientific,
Hmm.
and we kind of like arrest their ability to test these new hypotheses, and they're kind of like, you can see it when they're playing with how their body works or trying out new ways of like, how far can I jump? But it just happens to be them like jumping and hitting their head, and you know what I mean? Stuff like that, where they are testing how physics works and that stuff like that. Um, but but yeah, I feel like they're naturally inclined to make observations and then try to push those boundaries. And I think that that's the big thing. So it's like, I'm trying to think of an experiment or something that you can do. I mean, I basically was doing microscopy, you know, with when I did my outreach events, I had like a microscope that I took out, and I was like, where do you guys think that microbes would be? You know, and then we would test other things, and then we would put it under a microscope and see what it's for, you know, and it was basically being like, whoa, there's things in the world that we can see that with a microscope that we can't normally see. You know, and so I think like having hands-on applied science stuff that doesn't have any writing in it is actually, in my opinion, that's what I would used to do.
Yeah, we actually do a lot of like different hands-on experiments. I am absolutely dreading we have another slime activity coming up here soon. And
like actually making slime. I'm talking about
Yeah.
like doing like an algae, like finding algae or lichen or putting something like that. It's like a slide together. Not
Yeah, I
making slime.
would love to do something with the kids.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't currently have the funds for a microscope, which it's on our list of things that we want to get. We're a fairly small business starting out.
Okay. You can get them.
But yeah.
So you definitely want to get something like, you either want to do a handheld or something that's exports to the TV. Amazon has some that are around $100.
Okay, sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to look into that. It's just it's hard, I guess, and it's and there is a deep level of concern for the kids because, you know, as I said, they're at an age where they should be able to, you know, read and write and learn more. And I don't want to say that like I'm failing them. I'm trying to do as best as I can with, you know, the current set of limitations, you know, and I try to do the hands-on experiments. You know, that's primarily what we do.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, when, you know, try to go into talking and stuff about like the scientific method, you know, or asking, you know, hey, let's circle yes or no on a sheet of paper, and they can't tell you which one says yes and which one says no. That's
so sad.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
It makes me sad.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know if I don't want to say anything terrible about homeschooling, but it's I feel like there was a certain, you know, level of failure there, and I don't know, as an educator, I try to, you know, work around it, but there's only so much that I can do, and, you know, I don't want to have to not dumb down materials, but, you know, make things simpler and have them miss out on crucial information because they're unable to understand and pick up that information. Like I said, like it's kind of hard to explain the scientific method when they're not able to, you know, collect data and have to,
you know, I think maybe I would really focus on teaching it without, you know, just really creating that observation. How are we gonna what are we gonna what's our hypothesis, and then how are we, and then test that, and then if it's doesn't prove, then you can redo the hypothesis, you know, like just really iteratively going through kind of like the testing of the hypotheses, seeing what the results are, and then trying to change the hypotheses. Like you can do it with another really good microbiology one is like just auger plates. So they're super cheap. You can get them for like $1 a plate, you know, on Amazon, and you can. I mean, the notorious one is you just swab, like whatever, you know, you swab the handles, you swab around, and then you just put it in like an incubator, or you could leave it out, you know, at room temperature, and they just grow. You know, the bacteria will just grow. So that's probably the easiest one you can do.
Nice. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's so hard to like think of experiments and, you know, things that the kids can do, especially when we're
honestly,
limited.
ChatGPT, when I was like looking at ways to figure out what to do with my TikTok channel, it recommended me being like a TikTok experimenter science channel. So it gave me all these like science experiments and stuff that I could do with things from around the house. So that's also a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I've been looking through. PBS has like tons of like resources. That's where I grabbed a lot
Nice.
of mine from, 'cause try to support PBS and
Yeah, for
local
real.
broadcasting. Yeah. But thank you so
Well, if you
much. I really
ever
do
if you ever
appreciate it.
need like it sounds like you have like little younger kids, or but if you have anyone, maybe it's like a younger after school program for like high schoolers or anything, or you want anyone to speak there, yeah, I can talk to them about being a scientist or a career. It's not really like a career fair thing, but I can do it remotely. So I've done it before, and just
That would be
just
awesome.
throwing it out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, it was wonderful being on here tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for hopping in. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you so
All
much.
right, see ya.
See ya.
All right, Michael, I see ya. We got cool clips and then Zombalicious Crystal Rose first. Thanks, Shoes. Thank you, man. Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu's been amazing. I love it. Cool clips. How's it
Okay,
going?
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. How are you doing tonight?
Fabulous. Thank you for asking. It's been really fun.
Well, wonderful. So I'm wondering, what field of medicine are you in?
So I'm a microbiology PhD, and I used nanotechnology to deliver DNA to algae chloroplasts.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering kind of about I just got a recent diagnosis of ADHD,
Okay.
and I just started taking Adderall, and I was kind of like, I just saw a doctor on it, so I was like, okay, wait, I have some questions, maybe I can just ask you, but I don't know if that's like in your field or if you know that kind of thing, like.
I'm somewhat familiar. Do you have like a general question?
Yeah, so I guess I was kind of wondering about, maybe, like, I want to take my Adderall in the morning, but then I also want to drink coffee, and I'm wondering if I should mix the two, and, like, I looked it up, and it was kind of like either or, because I think there's, like, also not that, I don't know. So, yeah, tell me your thoughts on that.
Can you do decaf coffee?
I can, yeah. So I'm just wondering what the effects are, and like.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You don't want to push two gas pedals at the same time. There's ways of. Yeah, matcha is a good one. Decaf coffee if you just want that taste. Just trying to. Yeah, I would. I would moderate. Don't push it. Especially since you're new.
Right.
To the Adderall, yeah.
Yeah, and also I was wondering too, because my first prescription was for 15 milligrams, and I was looking up that, and that seemed kind of high, but then
Instant
also,
release or the extended?
Here, I have it right here.
Is it XR or
it says ER
extended?
caps. Okay. I think it's like extended release, because I only have to take one in the morning, so.
Yeah. So what it happens is those little gel caps are gonna be released over time. So yeah. So I would just chill. Just see what it is, and kind of, you don't want to push it. That's something that you don't want to. You want to see the benefits of it and.
Well, I've been like so surprised, actually. Like, I cannot believe that I'm 21. I cannot believe that I was living like without this for 21 years. Like, I am absolutely blown away.
Nice.
Like, yeah. So it's wonderful. But yeah, I just had a few questions. So yeah. But I guess that was my only question that I can think of right now. Like, I had more questions, but I forgot. But yeah. Okay. So thanks.
All good. We have people in the chat that seems to be good, and
I know, right? Thanks, guys. I was seeing you. Y'all were like, drink your coffee, girl. Okay, but yeah.
Cool.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Thank you too. Yeah, you too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Well, we have Garrett and Michael in the queue. I just want to do this real quick, guys. We are at that hour and 40 minutes, so that means it's time for. Oh man, it never happens the first time. It's so awkward.
Thank you guys so much. This is your time. Thank you so much, Galactic Starly, Sheepadoodle, Ducray. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you, Vanity, Maiden of Mayhem, Maylee. And thank you to our last subscriber, Sheepadoodle. You guys make this possible. Thank you so much. Please remember to follow. Subscribe is the #1 way that you can support the channel. And thank you for 1 like, 1,000 likes, 10,000 likes, whatever you want to do. Thank you so much. Linktree in the bio has $5 super chats. Discord link with show notes and primary sources all in there. And also there's my YouTube live archive where you can get past shows and watch them, and a list of my past publications if you want to learn some science.
And we're back. Crazy. That was wild. Thank you, Galactic. Thank you, guys. You guys are so kind. I appreciate you so much. All right. Just want to get you guys the time that you need. And I see you and I appreciate you. Thank you, guys. All right. Michael. Jay, that was wild. That was wild, man. Everything was just flying by, dude. I'm just sitting here and my whole room is going by. That was crazy. What's up, Michael?
How you doing? Oh, pretty good. How are you doing tonight?
Good.
I just wanted to add my, couple of cents in that, the lady that you had up there that was homeschooling. I felt bad because, people were kind of digging in on her and, not really trying to understand from her side. Mm-hmm. Just for the fact, a lot of people like, myself and probably like you, when you come from, like a very conservative state, I guess she was from Arizona. So when you come from a lot of conservative states, they don't have a lot of, not encounters, but they're not around a lot of people that are either gay, lesbian, trans, things like that. So, it's hard for them to really understand how, their lives are and their, how they want to be, just accepted as just a regular person. A lot of people for some reason who don't understand think that that all of a sudden they just wake up one morning and, gee, I think I'll be gay or lesbian. And it's not like that. And I could tell that she was very genuine and she wasn't, I guess to me, there's a difference between being accepting and being tolerant. Tolerant is just, I have to put up with them because, they're around here, or I work with them or whatever. But you could tell that she was, trying to work through it to try and figure out, how to be, nice and how to be, accepting and what she needed to do to help them out. And it just seems kind of, it would just seem kind of sad that people were getting on her for that. And it's good that she finally, she's realizing that, it's not being about accepting, but, about being tolerant, but, accepting people for who they are.
Yeah.
And that way, and I can understand because like two of my oldest friends is, for probably 35 years was a gay man. He passed away about 10, 12 years ago, and a lesbian woman. I've known them for, they're like family. Mm-hmm. And, to grow up and to be around, people like that, to me, that's just normal. And I worked someplace where my boss, his boyfriend, was transgender, and, nobody, we didn't make fun of them. We never talked behind their back or anything. It's just when you're, I guess when you're around, all types of people, you don't see them as a certain type of, thing or person or something like that. But it's nice to see, someone, at least one person is trying to be, accepting and, trying to help herself out and to understand. And hopefully she can kind of pass that on to other people, or maybe even her children and other people to be, more accepting and not just tolerating.
Yeah. I mean, I think about it in kind of like an imperfect ally versus a toxic person kind of thing, and it's just, you got to always give people the benefit of the doubt to that previous teacher, but then also I think like the people in chat, right? The people in chat are kind of like saying, "Let's go! Like we can do this. We can be better." That's how I'm taking their comments, So they're trying to say that, hey, we got people on this team, and we're fighting on that team, and you can join our team. And I think that there's just on all sides where kind of people are not just not talking to each other. We're talking past each other kind of thing. And it's like that people just need to, it's just work on assuming best intentions unless someone is like outright toxic. And then once they are outright toxic and they've been, proven that way, then I can understand that, but I think everyone's just being, I think everyone's just trying to lend support however they can.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then just one last thing. So I know the previous girl who came up with the ADHD. I have a friend who actually has a Taekwondo studio. So he's a teacher. He's I think like 5th degree. Cool. I think somewhere around there for many years. And he teaches a lot of children with ADHD, and they come in, and oddly enough, I guess hopefully after a while. It seems like a lot of them don't have to use, their drugs anymore, their medicines for that, because it's something, whether it's jujitsu like you or any type of martial arts discipline, you have to focus. You really have to be focused, and I think that's probably the biggest thing. And it I guess it kind of helps them with focusing and not having to use the medications as heavily, as a lot of them have to do.
Mm-hmm. Ducre, I totally agree with you there too. It's like the tough love thing, Ducre. I get, I see what you mean. I totally get what you mean, Michael. I think that's a really good point too. I mean, I had, did my blood work. And I was like really low on testosterone, and I went on TRT, and a lot of my ADD symptoms like went away, because it's like I was having executive function problems, and basically I was like sub 200 testosterone, and then I went on TRT, and then now all like that executive function, that drive, that motivation kind of like was there, and it was the best part that I liked of Adderall, but I didn't really feel healthy on Adderall. And I kind of, in grad school, I've talked about it. I had a mental health problem, and I went abusing Adderall. And so it was nice to put that behind me, and then also find something that was actually more productive and something that gave me the benefits that I was seeking, but also not the dangerous kind of side effect that I found with Adderall. So I think that there are some aspects of that too, obviously not with probably that person based off of the sound of their voice, but I think that it can be an umbrella thing. There's a lot of different manifestations of how, ADD can be, but I think for in general, like there's a lot of quality of life improvements for people that could use, Adderall or whatever, Vyvanse or whatever, low dosages, and keeping it small and keeping it safe. And you always, in my opinion, like for any drug, anything, non-medical opinion, but you want the minimum effective dose. You want whatever works at the least amount, just to lessen, side effects and combinations of problems, in my opinion. So that's how I like view, my health and my medications and stuff. And so that's what I do.
Oh, absolutely. All righty. Well, I'll let you get on to the next person here.
Well, thanks,
All right,
Michael. I appreciate you.
Uh-huh.
All righty. Have a good one. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you. That's a really good point. Yeah, obviously, like your physician, and that all has to be. Yeah, I agree with you. That's a good point. Thank you for pointing that out. All right, guys. Well, we have a science segment. I think there's this guy that's down here that's keeps banging on his cage. I think he's trying to get out. It's a little weird. But let's see what's gonna happen today. Oh my gosh, this thing's not working. Okay, one or yes. It's science. We do science here. It's incredible. We talk about science sometimes. We do. All right. Why chocolate tastes so good. Microbes that can fine-tune its flavor. Manipulating the microbial communities involved in cocoa bean fermentation could make chocolate even more delicious. Did you know that? Did you know that chocolate is a fermented food? This is true. When you bite into a piece of chocolate, you can taste its distinct fruity, nutty, and earthy flavors. And now, scientists have gained fresh insights into how the process of fermenting cocoa beans can affect the flavor profile. In a study published today in Nature Microbiology, hey, that's us, researchers found that pH, temperature, and microbial species, so the genetic diversity of the community, in the fermentation process all influenced the resulting chocolate tastes. They also replicated the flavor attributes of a high-quality chocolate in the laboratory by creating the ideal environment for fermentation. The researchers hope that using these techniques will create novelty and exciting new flavors for the consumers in the future, says study co-author Gavin, tough last name, a plant geneticist at the University of Nottingham, UK. I think it's definitely has some promise for people to start play with and look at in terms of designer chocolates. Oh, that would be cool. That is way cool. Fermented flavors. Fermentation is a flavor-enhancing step in the production of some foods and drinks. Making wine, cheese, and beer involves adding yeast or other microorganisms to make chocolate. Cocoa beans are removed from their pods, put together, and left to ferment, after which they are dried and roasted. But unlike production of wine, beer, and cheese, cocoa fermentation is a natural process that usually takes place without adding specific microbes. As a result, little is known about how different conditions or microbes species might influence the flavor of chocolate. Ultimately, what we were trying to do is increase the quality of chocolate, says the researcher. His team took samples of cocoa beans from a farm in the Santander District of Colombia and measured changes in the pH and temperature during the fermentation process. They suspected that these conditions would affect the chocolate's flavor because of how they influence interactions between bacteria and fungi. The researchers then compared cocoa samples from the Santander District with those from farms in the Huila and Antioquia regions of Colombia. They prepared cocoa liquors from the fermented beans from the 3 farms to test their flavor profiles. This process involves drying, roasting, and breaking down the beans to produce cocoa nibs, which are ground to a paste. A panel of food tasters sampling the liquors reported that those from the Santander and Huila shared flavor profiles, while notes of roasted nuts and ripe berries and coffee. Analysis of the fermentation conditions from the 3 farms found that the unique microbial communities influenced the flavor profiles of the 3 cocoa liquors. That's cool. That's way cool. So I know it's really wild. Like when I brewed beer, I was a home brewer. So most of the flavor from a beer is honestly in the yeast. It's crazy. You can actually you can go to places and they have the same yeast food, which is called the wort, which is kind of just like a water and grain, sugary stuff. And that's the food that goes into the yeast. And then that's what's fermented. And so it actually that's what they did here. They had the same cocoa. the same beginning process, the same beginning starting material, but then the only variable that they changed was the yeast and fungal. Yeah, the different fungal aspects of it, and then they flavor tested. That's so crazy. You can do this as white labs. Oh, nice. You can do this in white labs and in San Diego, by the way. So they do this professionally. This is where all the yeast come from. It's from white labs, and you can go there and you can see what your beer would taste like with different yeasts. So it was very, very cool. So that's cool that they can actually figure that out. All right. Well, guys, that was the peer review. Yay. The coolest things that are happening in science that nobody talks about except for us right here, right now. We did it. Incredible, guys. All right. We did it. Woo! Wasn't that crazy? That was insane. Dude, that thing is it's so heavy. It's so heavy. It's crazy. I'm telling you. It's so crazy. All right. Garrett. Garrett, what's up, dude?
Dr. Greg.
What's up, dude?
Yo, what's up, dude?
Not much. How are you?
How y'all been? I'm been good.
Good, dude. Good.
Dude, Greg. Any luck with the job search, bro?
Not back yet, man. It's tough out here. It really is. So unfortunately, yeah, there's not that many jobs open. And
Where are you from, Dr. Greg?
San Diego.
Okay. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Shit. I know it's expensive out there, Greg.
Yep, I know. Yeah.
Ain't that expensive out in Mississippi?
Are you inviting me to live with you?
Hey, you can sleep in my house for a little bit. I just $2,000 in rent. That's it.
Oh, that's it. That's like a mansion out there, dude.
Hey, I gotta make some money too. You know, Greg. You know how it is.
Okay. Well, how about you pay me though?
What'd you say?
How about you? I think it's backwards, bro. You should pay me.
No, you're living in my place, Greg. You gotta pay some rent.
No.
Come on now.
I love you too, Susie.
Come on.
Thank you.
This ain't liberal USA.
Yeah,
This
Jen.
is
Yeah, exactly.
America.
Garrett, wait a second. I thought you were living on a ranch in the Midwest.
What? When did I ever say I'm living in the Midwest?
That's what you said. That's what you said.
Dude, When did I? Is she talking about the wolves and shit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's my family. It's my uncle. It's not me. I don't live there.
Sure, that's what they all say.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Backtracking?
I never said I lived there. I said my uncle lived there. Jen, you could back me up on that too. You know I said that.
No, I know, dude. I don't know. You come in here disassociating, and there's like all these different personalities that you are. So it's hard to keep it.
Do you think I'm the Green Goblin, Greg? Come on now.
What are you up to, dude?
Dude, just chilling. You know, Greg. Come on now.
No, I don't. What are you?
Just chilling. On TikTok Live.
Cool.
Yep.
Do you ever go live? Do you ever do like lives yourself, or you just join people's?
I
lives?
did on my other account, but I got banned really fast because
Yeah, me
my
too.
lives are kind of crazy.
Yeah,
So
it was crazy. Mine blew up too much. It was like too popular, and so it got all.
No, mine was not popular at all. I just got banned really fast.
Me too.
Really? Wait, you went live on your other account?
Yeah, dude, it got too big.
Are you just gonna go on filters and troll me? Are you gonna, or do you want to have a real conversation?
Dude, it's just you're always so serious, Garrett, and I feel like we need to like lighten up the conversation. Right?
Dr. Greg, what do you think about?
What do you think about?
What do you think about?
What do you think about souls? Do you think souls exist? Do Do you
Yes,
think
but
there's
what do you think
souls?
about like the environment and
Are you a
stuff?
soul? Do you have how many souls do you have?
Dr. Greg, let's have a real conversation here. Let's not troll.
How many souls?
I think the chat is tired of Greg dodging Garrett, right, guys?
Do you, do you do you think? What do you think about us being our Earth being on the back of a turtle?
Dr. Greg, if you're gonna troll, you can come back in a few minutes, all right? I'm gonna have to let you go, all right?
What do you think about the environment?
Dr. Greg, I'm thinking like not even trolling. I think like the left side of the political stance, I think they're too soft. You know, everyone wants to go to cleaner energy. You know, they don't want to coal mines. They don't want to mine in Alaska. America has to retain its number one spot as the world superpower. If
Yes.
America is not number one world superpower, like the free world ends. I don't think people understand that. You know, I want clean energy, but it can't happen. America must retain its number one stance as world superpower. Do you agree with that?
No.
Dr. Greg,
No,
you
I
don't
don't.
agree that the United States should be number one in the
No.
world? No, okay.
Well,
Who? And you're still trolling Dr. Greg.
I don't.
You see how Dr. Greg dodges me in my chats?
What do you mean?
I mean, you don't want to have a serious
What
conversation,
do you
Greg.
mean? I don't get it. I don't get what you're talking about.
Okay, Dr. Greg, you really are dodging me like that. That's crazy.
I demand to be taken seriously.
Dr. Greg, are you gonna keep this up?
Do you believe in wind? I don't even believe
Dr.
in
Greg?
I don't believe in the sun.
Dr. Greg, are you
I
seriously
think it's
trolling me
just
right
a
now?
flashlight in the
Yes,
sky.
I will send this to your future employers. I hope you know that.
I think that it's just a big flashlight.
Dr. Greg, is your wife the moneymaker?
She is now. And
What
me
does she
too,
do?
dude. I
What does
might
she do
shake
for a
my
living?
money
What does she
maker
do
on
for a living?
all night over here.
What does she do for a living?
She's
she a
president of the
psychic?
United States.
Okay, Dr. Greg, are you really gonna troll me right now?
What are you talking? Are you saying? Okay, whatever, dude.
Dr. Greg,
I'm sorry, Trump's not involved. He's not the real president, and
Dr.
she
Greg,
is the president of the United
does your
States.
wife have an OnlyFans?
Do you want her to?
I would love. I've seen those newly made, fake boomaclats. I like them.
Okay, it's beautiful.
They're very nice.
Sick.
I must say.
Okay, thank you.
Your wife is a very beautiful woman.
I don't know how you know that, but I think that you do know that, and I'm scared. So I'm gonna go.
Well, Dr. Greg,
I'm gonna go.
She's a very beautiful woman.
Thank you.
I'd love to take her out.
Wow, dude, my face looks so much different once I take that thing off. It's so weird. I actually kind of, once it's on and I'm like looking at the screen with it, I'm like, I get so normalized with it, and then it goes. Okay, QFK. I can't have you guys back to back. I need like a palate cleanser, so we're gonna go Stacy first. Hi, what's up, Stacy? How's it going?
Hey, Dr. G.
Hi.
That was crazy.
What's up?
I really, really loved that filter.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's funny.
It was normalizing. Honestly, it was normalizing the right.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he said something and you trolled back, it was fantastic. I loved it.
Garrett's an old. He honestly, I'm pretty sure he joined my first stream ever. There was for 20 minutes, and he somehow found me, and he was. So he's been. Yeah.
He kept going on.
Yeah, he's come every single stream I've been here. So.
Oh, he's so cute.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He reminds me a lot when I was like early 20s, just having fun and not taking things seriously, and so I think it's good. I think it's good that he's here and he hangs out. So.
Yeah, I wasn't taking him seriously. I hope he wasn't taking himself seriously.
Sometimes he does. So that's the thing. Like sometimes he does. So and that's good. And those are the good fun conversations. And but yeah.
I'm just here to say thank you, because that was an exceptional live. I had a really great conversation with the homeschooling friend.
Oh, cool. Nice.
There's a lot of discourse, but we're allowed to have differences and shames. Sorry, I said sames, not shames. But yeah, it was a great conversation. But thank you for inviting me up. But honestly, get somebody else up in here to debate you on the other side, because I'm just a supporter.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not one of those channels that has like only the harsh debates or whatever. They only have adversaries and stuff. I just do like a 5-minute timer, and then I just like roll people out. So like that's usually my thing. So then everyone has a chance, and we can just chat and chill. So you got like 3 more minutes to talk about whatever you want.
So how about them Jays or something? I have no idea.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not anywhere for a disparate conversation. I'm just here to laugh in the chats.
Cool. All good.
Bring somebody else up for something else.
Okay.
Thank you for having a great life. Thank you, friend.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Alrighty. QFK.
Yo.
What's up, dude? How's it going? Why'd you remove the hammer and sickle from your name?
Because I'm an American.
You said so. It's the MAGA communism thing.
It's optics, Dr. Greg. If you know
literally watched that
optics,
video of
optics.
me and Haas and talking for 2 hours, and you've completely changed your entire identity because of it.
Well, it wasn't 2 hours. It was like 1 hour, 40 minutes.
You're right. I'm glad that you've obviously watched it a couple times now. So
yeah, I think we can put the whole epigenetics talk to bed. I would like to talk about something else, something crazy you said.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Why do you think that it's people's overconsumption that causes obesity and not a metabolic issue?
Okay, so a metabolic issue would mean it's genetics, and genetics.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I mean, bro, are we
I
going to
can't
go through genes like again? You have to let
No,
that go.
go.
You have to let it go. Then those mutations in those genes would happen throughout the world, and basically you would be able to see if it was like a thyroid issue or some type of genetic thing. You are right in the fact that there is some type of change and metabolic thing that is different person to person, but it is due to their genes, and it's basically how much ghrelin they naturally make. So let's say that someone has an above average ghrelin response. That means that they're hungrier than normal people throughout the day, and they're therefore be more susceptible to convenience foods and processed foods that are more readily available and easier to eat. So that does make a big difference for people, and that is people that are going to be more likely to be overweight. But for sure, 100% people are morbidly obese in the United States because the overconsumption of calories, 1,000%.
Okay, interesting. Well, have you heard of the late biologist Ray Peat?
No.
Yeah, it's this school of thought about carbohydrates as king, specifically about fruits.
Okay, yeah, you did
about fruits
purple.
and
So I definitely you've mentioned him before, and I've looked him up.
yeah, he quotes a lot of Soviet biologists.
Why do you have to say it? Why do you have to give that qualification?
Well, because okay, take looks maxing for example, right? Have you heard the trend looks maxing?
I've heard it, but I don't know what it means.
It's basically changing the way you look and making yourself look better based on your environment, instead of like
is that the guys that are doing the jaw clenching? They like want to have like
like mewing, bone smashing, eating healthier.
Yeah.
It's actually
Okay.
kind of interesting because it's literally Lysenkoism if you think about it. Looks maxing is epigenetics.
Okay. Okay.
But anyway, like I've been looking at RFK. I've been taking methylene blue. I've been taking baby aspirin, orange juice in the morning, and I agree with you that it's a thyroid issue that can cause obesity.
A very small amount of people, but yeah, I mean, what do you think? Okay, so what do you think is the chances of the problems being more related to the overconsumption of calories versus people not having methylene blue?
Well, the chances are pretty high.
That it's the overconsumption of calories.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
would say
agree.
so.
Yeah, I agree.
Methylene blue is. If you think methylene blue would like stop you from being obese, it's pretty undialectical as a Marxist.
Beautiful, good analysis.
I think that people have an overconsumption problem of overconsumption eating problem because of like a internal hormonal problem. Like you said, thyroid can be one of them.
Okay.
Prolactin levels out of whack, estrogen levels high. And there are vitamins you can take and things you can do to fix that, I think. Like progesterone for your thyroid, aspirin, and vitamin E for high estrogen levels. Avocados have vitamin E naturally, if you didn't know.
Yeah, but dude, like dialectical analysis can point to the overconsumption of calories like very easily, where you have like an intersection of socioeconomic factors and people being
Oh,
exploited
yeah.
at work and having
Mhm.
serotonin, like over serotonin brains and all
Like,
these kind of things. So it's like
for example,
you
like
can get there with my thinking too. It's not just like, oh my gosh, farmer shill, it's like,
if you were a farmer shill, you would look way different than you look now. I think
you don't think I am?
look. I think behind the camera you kind of do the rape heat stuff and anti-keto stuff.
I don't know what the repeat stuff is.
It's basically just eating a lot of fruits and avoiding seed oils
Oh no,
and
no, dude.
complex starches.
I don't do any of that stuff. I just that protein is my number one thing. I just eat 200 grams of protein a day, and that's it. That's like my main thing. Like that really is it. And then I work out 2 or 3 times a week, full body, jiu-jitsu 4 times a week. That's it.
Yeah, your metabolism is in line.
Okay, sick. Okay, well, I got 3 people in the queue, man, so I got to go through, and you've been up here for 7 minutes. So I appreciate you.
7 minutes?
Yeah,
Damn, time flies.
I know you can re-queue if you want, but I'm just gonna work through the queue. Okay.
All right.
Sick,
Salute.
man. That was a good convo. That was really interesting. I'm down to talk to you more about it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sick. All right. Roya first, and then Large, and In Charge, and then Jimmy. Hi, Roya. How's it going? Roya, you might be muted. Roya, I can't hear you. Okay, we're gonna go to the next person, but I think your mic is muted if you're trying to talk right now. Large and In Charge. Hello.
Yo, what's up, guy?
How's it going?
#1 most canceled scientist.
I know. What the hell, man?
You beat out a lot of people. How'd that happen?
It's ridiculous, yeah.
Are you Canadian?
Speaking the truth, dude. Just speaking the truth,
Are you Canadian?
Nope.
Oh, all right. I'm mistaken that for a poppy on your vest.
Oh, no, it's a boutonniere.
Oh, okay. So what do you talk about? Just general health?
I'm a scientist. I'm just like I'm a molecular biologist by training. I have a microbiology PhD, and I just kind of like talk about um, science issues, science communication, talking about what's happened with the pandemic, things that I've researched on, that kind of stuff.
Okay. I like how you're advocating for 200 grams of protein. Do you just say
Thanks.
that like generally, or do you do a pound to 0.8 of protein per? Like, so if I'm 200 pounds,
Yeah.
do you just say a gram per pound of body weight? Is that what you?
Yeah. I'm 180, so like I aim to have it. There's some research out there that you can get a benefit up to 1.5.
Oh, okay. Because I'm big into bodybuilding.
Nice, dude. Have you tried the 20 grams of creatine a day?
I do 10.
Dude, try the 20. Everyone's talking about it. It's actually has a paper to support it, and there's actual research to talk about it being like it has more benefits with neuro stuff with 20. It's wild. I started doing it, and I don't know if it's I have noticed a difference. I don't know if it's placebo or not, and I'm actually kind of surprised, but yeah. So it is kind of wild.
Yeah, I definitely feel better taking creatine. I was doing 5 grams, but that's because I was under 200 pounds. And once I got up to 200 pounds, I started taking 10. And I know I probably could take more, but I just take 10 grams intra-workout with cluster dextrin.
Yeah, the difference I noticed was just like sleepiness. Like I kind of have to in the morning. I don't have that kind of like fog as much, and it's kind of nice. Yeah, and so in my workouts and stuff, like my rounds, and I can kind of like go on those, like on the 4th and 5th round when I normally would be gassing out. I went all 5 rounds today, so it was actually pretty sick. People were actually like, "Whoa, like you got some energy today," and I'm like, I don't know. So it's fun.
Yeah, I definitely feel better when I'm taking creatine, but along with that, just to sort of like regulate my testosterone, if I'm also taking zinc, D3, K2, and then magnesium. I think it's the magnesium that starts with a G.
Glycinate.
Yeah, I try and take that with. I've been definitely trying to take less melatonin because I know it can suppress your hormones. So I've been kind of trying to wean
Dude,
off.
honestly, man, the biggest thing for my sleep is CPAP machine. I snore. It's if you're jacked or if you're fat, you probably need a CPAP machine. So I snore, and my wife told me for the longest time I was snoring, and then I was like right on the edge of having like events and apneic events, and then you just basically, it's super easy, it's free. You just put a thing on your diode on your finger and your heart, and you just like wear a little pillow like on your nose, and it just helps you. It's sick. It's really nice.
Yeah, my dad actually had like really horrible sleeping problems, and he said he didn't feel like he slept at all ever, and like I could hear him snoring from the next room over, and it was horrible. And I advised for him to go to the doctor and see if he needed a sleep apnea machine for 3 years. He finally just got one, and he says he feels 10 times better, and he actually sleeps at night. So,
dude, that's great. Yeah, dude, my sleep hygiene is, I'm dialed in, bro. I got the sleep mask because that increases like REM sleep, like for that. And then I also, because of grappling and stuff, it's just my knees, like they're just kind of in working out. I just need some, like a pillow, so I have a body pillow. But my wife, who still uses her pregnancy pillow, she was like, dude, you got to get one of these. If you're going to get a body pillow, you should get this. So I got a pregnancy body pillow, and I got my mask, and I got my CPAP. That's like my little sleep pod going on. It helps me. Yeah, exactly. A blackout sleep mask. Yeah, it has the openings and stuff. It has like it's like a little raccoon thing. It's nice. It's for like $10. It like, I don't know what it is. Like, boom, I just go out instantly with the sleep mask on. It's so nice.
The darker and colder you can make your room, the better, right?
Yeah, it is. No, yeah, not romantic. Yeah, for sure. But it's yeah, man, it's just like a fun way to dial in something. I feel like the CPAP. It's like one of those things like, you just oxygenate your blood. Like, why would you not want to oxygenate your blood while you're sleeping? Like, that's so sick, so I like it.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in all of that stuff in terms of just supplementation, diet, and recovery because when I was in my early teens, I got a little bit overweight and I got really into the gym. I used to be a hockey player.
Nice.
I stopped playing at the end of high school. So that kind of just got me into bodybuilding, and just all throughout my years in college, I just got into it more and more. And it's just so good because it just advocates for such a healthy lifestyle, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, man. That's how I completely changed my entire life because of jujitsu in the same way where I'm like, I wanted to go to sleep earlier so I had more energy for jujitsu. I wanted to work out now like more consistently because I wanted to be stronger, and like your muscle kind of like is protective of your ligaments and stuff during jujitsu. So it's just it completely changed my life. Thanks, Juice. Yeah, it's dude. Especially I'm 38. It's kind of hard, once you're out of college, it's hard to meet people your age, and you have that on the mats, man. And it's so cool. Like there's so many different people, different types of people from all around the world, different cultures, different languages. It's so much fun. Oh, science-based lifting. I normally do just like 3 days a week, full body. I think that's the biggest thing is that bro splits are kind of dead. You don't really need to do, you don't need to do that unless you're doing like 5 days a week and you're really like targeting every muscle group 3 times a week. I do full body 3 times a week, take a couple of rest days off, you know? Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. That's good, man. Yeah. I would do that too. I mean, it's whatever you want, I think in the end, like whatever you gel with. I think it's whatever. Yeah, I do. There is some, dude, stretching is big. It does get, I will say it does get kind of sucky to do kind of like deadlifts constantly where you're like doing Romanian deadlifts like every time, or stiff legged deadlifts and squats, and like full body can be rough. So that's why I kind of keep it to 3. If I was doing 4 or 5, I'd probably be splitting it up more, but I basically do 3 days of lifting and then like mobility, stretching. I've done that every night now. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I just do stretching and mobility is like the biggest thing for me, adding that in. That's been really crazy. Just getting my splits and my psoas. You guys know about psoas? I just learned about the psoas muscle, like literally from jujitsu. It's like the muscle that goes from your back all the way to your legs through your hips. And you literally I was a gamer in high school. So I just like sat on my psoas and never developed it. And then now I am like figuring out this muscle's like basically atrophied my entire life, and I need to like strengthen this thing. And it's been wild. It is just like strengthening my hip. And because in jiu-jitsu, you need to like have your knees up and kind of like flexibility, bringing them back. And like people can bring their knees, like seriously, bring their knees all the way to their ears. It's absolutely wild. And I can't do that. I cannot do that. And it's like, I always thought it was because like my ligaments and my bone structure, like I just couldn't stretch it enough in order to do that. But in reality, I don't have the muscles in order to pull myself apart. And you basically are trying to create that muscle strength in order to, pull yourself apart in those positions. So it's actually just kind of wild. So anyway, man, dude, thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate talking to you. We got one more person in the queue, and if you want to queue up again, that'd be awesome. So it's all up to you.
All right. Have a good one, man. Nice to meet you.
Sweet. Thanks, man. All right. Sleepy.
Hello.
Sleepy, how's it going? What's up?
I'm doing well. There's so many good topics that were brought up, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to choose one to go through.
Whatever you want to talk about.
We can talk about my narcolepsy. We can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually want to tell you about my sleep study because it's actually kind of crazy.
Okay.
So, for anyone who suspects that they have sleep apnea or they suspect that they have a sleeping disorder, what they essentially do is they make you first stay overnight, and They hook you up to a machine where essentially they're able to analyze your brain waves as well as like in general like how your like state of body is. So that first stage is supposed to help them review evidence to see if you have sleep apnea, because what happens with sleep apnea is actually you see disruptions in essentially the sleep cycle, or in general those disruptions can be easily detected through that first round. Now if you don't show signs of sleep apnea, which I didn't, I then had to stay a little bit longer where I had to take 5 spaced out naps. And these naps ranged from, I think, not they didn't range like differently, but they I think they weren't any longer than 15 minutes. And my result was is that I went into REM sleep almost every single time in less than
Wow.
1 minute.
No way. Less than 1 minute? That's
Yeah.
insane. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Wow. Because normally
Yeah.
you have to go through all the phases and then you go through REM, right? So and then you come
Yeah.
back. So that's like that's is that normally what narcolepsy is?
Yeah, so well, narcolepsy is like kind of still like being defined as it is because sleep medicine in general is very relatively new. So when you look into narcolepsy as it like at the definition, it usually is associated with excessive daytime sleepiness disorder or excessive daytime sleepiness. And it's usually associated with an unregulated circadian rhythm, as well as the fact that you consistently have the urge to sleep during the day at random times, no matter how much sleep you get at night. Because I would tell you, see, I think I've always had narcolepsy, but I never really like acknowledged it because I was just like, oh, this is just the way my body is. But I will tell you that because of my narcolepsy, I think I've fallen asleep in every single class I've ever had since the beginning of high school. And I didn't get diagnosed until the summer before my senior year of college. And that was a whole other ordeal, but
Interesting.
like yeah, and I could tell you from firsthand experience, no matter how many hours I got, it was inconsistent with how well I felt in when I woke up. Because there's some times where I stayed up doing homework and I only got like 5 hours of sleep, and I got up and I felt ready to go in the morning. And then other times I would get like 8 and 9 hours of sleep, and I just would not be able to like get up. I would need to snooze like 4 times.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from that,
And then
sorry.
after the sleep study, I guess did you finally get like some like treatment?
Yeah. So the most common form of treatment is usually they start you out with stimulants, and the one I'm currently taking right now is modafinil.
Okay.
And actually, because of my test, they started me out at a pretty decent dosage. But I was taking modafinil first. And ironically, because of the medication that I took, it actually caused me to have almost a stimulant-induced psychosis, because I didn't realize that I also had bipolar at the same time. And fun fact, people with narcolepsy are not only more likely to have conditions like bipolar disorder, and like clinical anxiety as well as clinical depression, but they're also more likely to develop neurological issues such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's later in life.
Wow, I had no idea. Wow, that's good. So it's a major dysregulation in the brain then.
Yeah.
Wow.
A part of it, if like people want to look it up, it's involved with a specific set of nerves I think they're called hypocretins. And the specific this specific nerve is responsible for regulating sleep, and essentially helps with the circadian rhythm. And yeah, I like it's really tough. So like, but I think one thing that I've done to help myself kind of like not only help with like my bipolar disorder, but also with my narcolepsy is to eat vitamins, as well as getting the proper treatment, of course, but specifically focusing on like vitamin B, like vitamin B6, vitamin B12, biotin.
Wow, interesting. Just real quick, I found this article about this. So narcolepsy. This is a review article, Siegel, 2008. It was just like their review. So this is the summary. Narcolepsy is a neurological disorder that is characterized by excessive daytime sleepiness and cataplexy, a loss of muscle tone generally triggered by certain strong emotions with sudden onset. The underlying cause of most cases of human narcolepsy is a loss of neurons that produce hypocretin, HCRT, also known as orexin. These cells normally serve to drive and synchronize the activity of monoaminergic and cholinergic cells. Sleepiness results from the reduced activity of the monoaminergic, cholinergic, and other cells that are normally activated by the hypocretin neurons, as well as the loss of hypocretin itself. Wow.
Yeah. And
So so hypocretin and the neurons that produce it. Yeah, wow. I wonder what I'm just learning about this hypocretin right now.
yeah, it's sleep medicine itself is relatively very new. I would know this because like even if you look in, because I live in Connecticut, so I go to Yale Medicine Sleep Center, and
No, I'm not a medical
even
doctor. I'm just I'm a microbiology PhD. Go ahead. Sorry.
it's okay. Like even that, like even the medicines that are currently being like developed, or the medications that are being developed for narcolepsy, they're still in clinical trials. Like there's trying to find ways in which we can divert from utilizing stimulants, as well as like there's an like if you look into the medications, there's also like a very like powerful one. It starts with an O. I forgot what it was, but it's it's intense, and it usually helps with people who have cataplexy. I experience it from time to time, but I've been able to manage. But I will tell you that it actually impacts my fight or flight response
Interesting. Yeah, I was curious
because
about like your appetite too, because it's saying that the hypocretin helps regulate appetite.
oh, right. Yeah, no. I will tell you that when I started regulating my narcolepsy, but prior to that I was also an athlete, so I was kind of managing my, calorie intake in that way. But because like I was an athlete, I kind of like didn't realize the problem. But I did have an like when I tell you when I would eat, I would like feel hungry still afterwards. I would still feel hunger. And it wasn't because I ate too fast, or I didn't drink enough water prior to like kind of like, you know, that's actually a trick that I had to teach myself, is to drink a lot of liquids, so I didn't eat too much food. But as soon as I started like going taking the medications that I did, my appetite significantly went down.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if that has to do. I wonder how it's linked. Here we go. Here's a book, a behavior handbook. I'm trying to look at the relationship between hypocretin and appetite. I wonder. That makes sense. I wonder in when you're sleepy at night, like eating a nighttime snack or something at midnight. You know what I mean? I wonder if they're all related.
And the thing is, you want to know the scary part? Is because like, people who have narcolepsy, especially from a young age, their development is always impacted, right? Unless they're doing something else, like, like being like very athletic, or like, maintaining a decent diet. But because like when we learn from a young age in basic health class, literally the way that you develop is based on the quality of your sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's highly correlated. So
That makes
people
sense.
people with narcolepsy tend to not only be overweight because of the fact that their appetite isn't suppressed, but it's also because of the fact that the muscle development is impacted, as well as the metabolism is being affected due to the circadian rhythm being significantly impacted. And because you have a dysregulated circadian rhythm, you have more abnormal times in which you feel as if you want to eat.
Interesting. Yeah, that is wild. Well, thank you so much for bringing this. This is really cool to read about and learn about. I had no background knowledge in this, so that was really cool.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool.
This is literally why like my username is Sleepy, and they're like, "Why do you call yourself Sleepy?" I'm like, "Oh yeah,
Well, guess
what? Guess what? I'm narcoleptic. I should have Aurora as my profile picture, but like Sleeping Beauty." But I'm like, that'd be too much. That'd be too much.
Little on the nose, but that's good. No, that'd be good. I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah, maybe I should do that for Halloween.
No, that's a good one. That's a really good idea. Well, have a good night. I hope you sleep tight. I guess sorry. I don't know. I had to.
The last fun fact that I will give you is really quick. You can be a narcoleptic and an insomniac at the same time.
Ah, interesting.
Very hard dynamic.
When you want to go to bed, you can't go to bed, but then you just involuntarily go to bed?
Oh yeah. Sometimes I get sleeping spells, but that's for another time.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Have a good one.
All right. See ya. Hello, dude. Michael, we had someone in chat that I'm gonna DM you their stuff, but they had a question about whether or not they have Lyme's disease. Can you what a small world, man. I'm gonna okay, Rocky, I hit you up. We'll see if Rocky joins. I know he wanted to get in yesterday and he couldn't because of the long call, so I'm trying to get him in. How's everyone doing tonight? Cool. Everyone's talking. Okay, yeah, that was someone else. So this one is just tonight. That they just came like an hour ago. So I got a second person. So sorry, bro. I got referrals to you. You're my go-to physician friend. So you're awesome. But it was actually dealing exactly with what you were talking about. So I think it's awesome. Okay, the nothing. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
Hi, good. What are you up to?
So, I don't know. I'm okay. So I have MS. I don't know if I'm in the right chat or if you actually have any insight on this. But I'm newly diagnosed, and I'm starting a DMT, which is a B cell depletion DMT.
Okay.
And
Michael, do you know anything about this?
Sorry.
It was like it's a physician friend that's in chat right now, so I was wondering he would be the person to ask. But go for it.
Well, it's also, so I just popped positive for hepatitis E.
Okay.
And so this one is like, I've never heard of it. I didn't even know it existed. And apparently it's from like drinking like contaminated water or traveling. It's very common in like undeveloped countries and stuff. And I'm in like Columbus, Ohio. So I'm developed country and stuff like that. The only thing I can think of is that maybe I ate somewhere that
Yeah, maybe.
somebody was at it. But I'm trying to find out if once I'm cleared, because now it's showing antibodies, so I'm guessing it's IgM antibodies. So I'm hoping that eventually it will be like the IgG antibodies and cleared. And I'm wondering if they would start me on the B cell depletion DMT because of that.
I do not know. What do you think, Michael? I this is not my area. I change and genetically modify
Yeah, I
organisms for a
wasn't
living.
sure.
But Michael is a good person to ask. He's like she hepatitis A. He's saying she means hepatitis A.
No, it's E.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let me see.
No, I'm not confused. It's hepatitis E.
Hepatitis E.
I know it's like a rare thing. I didn't even know it existed.
Sometimes it causes acute liver failure, primarily transmitted through fecal, oral, or contaminated food or water. Treatment is supportive, focusing on managing symptoms. Ribavirin.
There's a pathologist in the comments, Dr. Keisha Davis, MD. That seems to know something about this.
Do you want to, Keisha Davis? Do you want to come in? That'd be awesome. Can I invite you? I'll throw you an invite if you're available. Don't worry about it if you're not. I understand. Yeah, I do not know about this. This is not my expertise.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, and I figured I'd come up and just ask.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just like, because I'm, the DMT is like the medicine. It's the medicine I have to start to. It's like an immunosuppressant. So it depletes your B cells. It's kind of, it originally started as like a cancer treatment, and I guess they realized that it works well with MS patients. So, but you can't have hepatitis with it because it can cause something, I can't remember the name of it, PML?
Let me see. I'm looking at the Wikipedia.
No,
right now.
I haven't traveled anywhere, and I am in the States. Somebody's asking in the comments. No, I haven't been anywhere internationally or any of that. So that's why I was wondering if, like, maybe I got it from, like, somebody who was maybe working in a kitchen or something and had it and contracted it through foodborne stuff.
Oh, awesome. Hello. Thanks for joining.
Encephalopathy.
How are you?
Good.
Sorry, I'm trying to be quiet.
Oh,
Wait,
thank you so much.
I'm central. I'm in Texas. How are you?
Good. Awesome. Thank you
Yeah,
so
so
much.
I can just mention the testing part. I'm a pathologist, triple board certified, been practicing for 16 years. I'm also a podcast host of the Medical Collective.
Wow.
And I will tell you this about hepatitis E. Yes, it is rare, but as we're seeing climate change and things, we do see viruses we normally don't see in places. But in addition to the fact that, yes, it usually is not here, in the United States, it is sometimes in water sources as well. So if you have an
Interesting.
IgM, which means acute infection, everybody, IgG is what we look for chronic. The fact that we're seeing the IgM in acute, if she's saying it's IgE, then that can happen. And very rarely, actually, IgE can cause chronic hepatitis or fibrosis, but it's not very common. Now, treatment,
Interesting.
you have to talk to your physician about that.
Gotcha. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Wow.
Hi, Julie.
Am I on?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I didn't even know I was on. I was sitting here like quiet. Like I'm like sitting here like texting you like a freaking idiot.
No, that's okay, dude. I just
No,
have to.
so like I have a ton of experience, obviously, with hepatitis, being a surgeon, but hepatitis E, like she said, is really rare. She doesn't have hepatitis E, but hepatitis B and C are blood, sex, blood, needles, whatever, that they cause cirrhosis and liver cancer, most common cause of liver cancers, B and C. Hepatitis C is curable now. Hepatitis B is not. We can vaccinate. Hepatitis A is what you get from fecal oral route. You get sick as shit, and you get better. It doesn't lead to long-lasting sequelae, but you're sick. But that wouldn't be a contraindication for you getting medicine for MS just during the acute phase if you're sick, if it's hepatitis A. But, you know, I mean, if you've never used, I mean, you would know if you had hepatitis B or C, they would tell you,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Right.
I mean, that's basically, you know, that was, you know, on par before there was anything. There was hepatitis B vaccine, but when I did my surgery residency just started, it was like, well, if you get a needle stick, you're going to get hepatitis B, C, or AIDS. You know, all of them, you're screwed. So it sounds to me like you have or had hepatitis A, and PML is progressive multifocal leukoencephalopathy, which is kind of like Creutzfeldt-Jakob, kind of like a prion, you know, like a slow virus in your brain.
Yeah.
Which is in all the commercials, if you look at all the like biologics, you know, and they talk really fast, they're like, there's a slight chance of PML, and you're like, I don't even know what that means. You know, like most people don't know what it means. So it's kind of in all those drugs. But I mean, I don't know. You know, the pathologist, what's her name, Keisha?
Keisha.
Yeah. I mean, you've obviously seen PML, but you know, like clinically, I've never seen it. You know?
Yeah, and it's more in immunocompromised. CJD, you guys, is a prion. It's not actually a living thing. It's literally like this repeat that keeps folding and folding and folding. We have had scares in the autopsy room, and you do have to be careful. Anyone, when they get that, it's literally from presentation till days to weeks before they end up in the autopsy.
Most common in neurosurgeons and pathologists, and it's related to a disease called Kuru, which from New Guinea, where they eat brains, cannibals. They eat human brains.
Oh wow!
So,
and UK sometimes with some of the cows in the meat too, because we used to defer people for donating.
yeah, I mean it's bad, man. Like, but neurosurgeons and pathologists, those are the two like most high risk professions, because you're dealing with the brain. And I thought you
that's the scary part.
Like prions. I remember you saying like a few days ago, like you want to talk about prions because they're not living. That's what's cool. Like it's crazy. Like they're not alive.
It's not cool. It's scary.
They're
It
very
reminds
scary.
me of the
I mean,
blob
yeah.
from the 70s. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it
it's
keeps
like-
repeating and folding and folding. And
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I mean, it's bizarre, you know? It's like they're not alive, and you're like in medical school, you're like, well, if they're not alive, then what are they, dead? And they're like, the professors can't answer it. They're like, well, no, it's a totally separate disease entity. And you're just like, that didn't help.
So for
You know,
chat, that from Wikipedia, a prion is a misfolded protein that induces misfolding in normal variants of the same protein, leading to cellular death. So in other words, it's kind of like they think about it like a dominoes that are all stacked up, and then one of them just topples over, and all the other dominoes like get knock over. So they just all your other proteins get misfolded, and it's a kind of just a catalog.
Something
problem.
you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, I mean, this is in the realm of like that scary like permafrost stuff that we don't want to freeze from Antarctica, that kind of stuff where you're in the weird world of stuff we don't want to see that we want frozen forever in permafrost.
it's worse than Ebola.
Well, this is for like, apparently you can get it like from this medication. This is what I'm told. If you're taking this medication, you have hepatitis, some sort of hepatitis. Apparently you can get it. Is that accurate, or does that sound accurate?
I have no idea.
I don't. Michael might know, or Keisha.
What is she talking
What was the
to?
medication?
Okay, yeah. What is the medication?
It's Kesimpta, Ke.
Probably because of your immune system. I mean, nothing directly causes a viral infection, but when your immune system is weakened, you're more susceptible to it. But Hep B and Hep C, as Dr. Michael said, are blood fluid related for the way that you get them. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you guys are way over my pay grade.
Yeah, me too. I'm learning along with you. I have no idea what's going on. Which is the fun part. That's always the fun part. Kesimpta. Yeah.
Kesimpta, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Wikipedia just at least Google AI is getting a lot of the same things that we were already talking about. Interesting. Yeah, I know. Do great. Yeah, I know.
That's crazy. I'm reading the comments. Some of this stuff is kind of crazy.
Well, there's data actually now to show, like, I'll be honest with you, everybody touts vitamin D for this and vitamin D for this. Actually, the only thing that vitamin D has been shown to work in recent randomized trials is high doses of vitamin D. You can look it up, seem to mitigate some of the MS problems, but very high dose vitamin D. And this is from like randomized human trials.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Were you told that?
I have heard that, but I haven't been told that by any neurologists or specialists that I've been seeing. So I was on a high dose of vitamin D, and I didn't realize I was taking a high dose. And the rheumatologist told me to stop. So
I mean, I can here. I'll give you the.
thank you guys so much. This is very helpful. So PML is, I can't believe that some of this is like chronic wasting disease and what you guys are talking about, the people that eat brains and stuff.
Well, it's not just that, because people aren't doing that, as readily as you say. But yeah, it's progressive multifocal leukoencephalopathy, and then CJD, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, and that's the prion. The PML is caused by a virus, so they're actually different. It's caused by the JC virus.
Yes.
The prion disease the CJD is a prion. So that's non-living. It's way worse.
I see. Somebody's asking, I'm on 50,000 IU vitamin D a week. Is that bad?
You take like 5,000 a day. So
I'm going to put this right here. So here's the study that you should Google, and you can see this is the one that shows it's brand new. Shit.
I like him. So this is a newer study then.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Yeah.
Michael, we can't hear you.
I'll DM him.
Can you hear me?
Not when you go outside
When you
of the
go-
app.
Oh shit. Okay. So it's called the D dash lay LAY MS trial. And I was just looking at it. It was 100. It's a randomized placebo-controlled trial, and they were receiving. I was reading it. It's in JAMA, March 10th, 2025, and 100,000 units, and it was statistically significant with reducing the symptoms. So it's D dash LAY, another word MS. Intervention trial. So I would look it up.
Yeah, I'll definitely look that up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, it's approaching 3 hours for me, so I think I'm gonna take one more call. Thank you guys for all coming on. I really appreciate you, everyone. I love that there's so many experts in here and people that I can learn from, and I work with microbes, not humans, so I appreciate you guys.
I work with all in between.
I know, that's
the
so
laboratory and the surgical. Yeah, I'm
That
all
is
of
so
it.
cool. I love the idea of this week in microbiology. It's like with what's his name?
Yeah, I was into that.
Wait, oh,
Of course,
cool.
I was
Yeah,
into- Which
like
was yeah.
the clinical microbiology like stuff is always really fascinated me. So that is really cool. I'd love to pick your brain sometime about it.
Yeah, thank you for having me up.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Bye bye.
All right.
All right. All right. One more person. Jen Lynn. Oh, Jen Lynn disconnected her request. If you want to request one more time, Jen Lynn, you can do that. Or we're not. And all right, guys. I think that's going to be it. Oh, it was an accident? Okay. Yeah, no problem. Don't worry about it. All right, guys. Trying to end stream a little earlier. Yesterday went to 2, which is a little much. But at the end of the night, we're going to do it. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you, man. One more time. We're going to check in on everyone, see how everyone did. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate extra special. Thank you to the last subscriber, Sheepadoodle. Thank you. Susie, top gifter. Thank you so much. Galactic Starly, Sheepadoodle, Ducray, Madam, Maiden Madam, Jen, Dr. T, Augie, thank you so much. Thank you for all the likes, everyone. Vanity, Maiden, Maylee, Galactic Starly, Jen, Terragrim, Ducray, Liliac Flower. Thank you guys so much. Linktree, Discord, Papers, and that's it. All right, guys. Have a good one. Same bat time, same bat channel. Check out the edits. Yeah, the edits from yesterday are freaking awesome. I'm having so much fun with the editing. Tell me if I'm going crazy. I think I'm having fun with it. I basically brought my YouTube editing stuff to my TikToks, and I'm having too much fun with it. So tell me if they're crazy, but I appreciate you. Oh, cool. Thank you. Hey, everyone's always welcome, but you know what? Like we're never gonna at anyone in any of our posts, about that. It's not about castigating her for it. If she ever had a legitimate science questions, like she's welcome to come here, and I would love to be a resource for her on any of those topics. So that's a big thing for me. So we got to make sure that she feels welcome to come back and ask questions if she wants to learn. So, because being wrong is the first step of all learning. It is always a big thing. And I love being wrong. I love having a hypothesis, testing that, learning from that. I mean, that is the first step of the scientific method. And that's what's so fun about science, is that you're always learning. Be a lifelong learner, everyone. All right, guys. You know what time it is. Thank you. You guys. This is you. It was you. You guys did it. Amazing show. Always time. Give it again. Boom. Yes. You. Thank you. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Same. We're going to do it again. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going, guys. See ya. Bye.